All members are here.
Yes, all of those members,
Let's see, public is invited to be heard. Just glad you're here. We have a new, is it Scott?
Yeah.
Welcome.
Just trying to stay in the shadows.
Yeah. Spotlight's on you. Approval of last month's minutes, any changes, added deletes? Okay, motion to approve.
I can take the motion.
Bonnie?
Second.
Second by John. To approve. New business, 2026 board direction and commitments. Last time we made a commitment to get more to do on outreach. We'll talk about that after the meeting. Anybody else have anything they'd like to add as a commitment they'd like to see the board pursue this year? Anybody?
You want me to talk now?
Please.
So, I don't know about these 9 o'clock meetings. I was telling John before the meeting that I don't wake up for 2 hours. And it hasn't been 2 hours yet, so, but I'll try.
We can wait if you'd like.
That's okay. It'll be just as bad in a half hour. I think that one of the things that we need to do as a board, and we've talked about this tangentially lots of times over the last couple of years, and that's that we need more contact with the city council. And I think someone should have as a responsibility to maintain a liaison, kind of like Matt's job in reverse. Someone from this board should make it a point to represent what we're thinking about, you know, not for their own point of view, but for the board's point of view, and try to get them in a position where they would support whatever it is that we're after when it comes time to budget, when it comes time to make your presentation to the city council, and so they're not caught cold. And let's face it, you know, we all know that city council members, they can only absorb so much. You know, you make a presentation and they might remember some of it and then maybe not. So you got to do some groundwork ahead of time for them to really understand it, to remember, you know, what you're doing. So this person, their task, it seems to me, would be something like contact each of the city council members at least once during the year to explain the positions or the feelings, you know, the opinions of the board. I think also important people would be people like Harold and Catherine, your boss.
Oh, Christina.
Christina, geez, sorry, Christina, and the new city council representative to us, the deputy director. And see what I mean? I'm only half awake. Normally I'd be able to remember those names, but you know, those, and not necessarily, but you see where I'm going with this, is to lay the groundwork ahead of time before budget decisions are made and decisions are made on any recommendations that are made by the board. And we've never done anything like this in the 4 years that I've been on the board. And I don't know if anything's been done in the past like that, but I kind of doubt it. And I'm not quite sure. I think the city councils would be fine with that. I think Christina would be fine with it. Harold would be fine with it. I don't think there's any objection to it. I mean, who would object to talking to people? You know, so I don't think we want to get too far astray from what your bosses might want. You know, so we'd have to be some coordination there, of course, and with you. And along with that, I've been talking, I mentioned a couple, 3 times about the need for information, and we still, we haven't planned a meeting yet to meet with Ronnie on some maybe monthly or quarterly data, all of which, the way I see it, they have already. But it's necessary to have that data handy when you talk to people. You know, so if they ask a question, you've got some idea of what's going on. So that has to be developed yet. But I would see that as along with this kind of position. You know, how long? I guess would this be a board appointment? I don't know. Just a volunteer, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, that's the idea that I was thinking of, and I think just watching, frankly, the difficulty in communication between ourselves and the city council over the last 4 years, I think we need to do something like that. Yeah.
I think you're talking about a publicist, right?
Talking about it.
In a way.
Yeah.
In a way.
Kind of, yeah. It's kind of a board advocate.
Right.
A senior center advocate on the board. I don't know what you call it, but someone to advocate
A lobbyist, right?
for the senior center, basically, but to reflect the thinking of the board.
So would that be like a public relations committee, or would that be a one-person thing?
I was thinking a one-person deal. Otherwise, personally, I think that would get way too cumbersome.
Right.
With monthly reports.
Plus
You know,
the sunshine law.
nothing would be done in a
one-on-one.
Right.
nothing would be done in a vacuum. You know. So yeah, I just see that as one person, and kind of like the individual committees. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So would you like to head up that committee? Are you volunteering?
Well, yeah, I would. I'll give it a shot. If nobody else wants to do it, if you want to fight for it, that's okay.
Well, let's wait a second. No.
I'm going to arm wrestle, something on that order.
How
But
about?
yeah, I would do that, and I can't guarantee how that's going to work out. It's just that I think it's a need that we need to try.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
How about this? You go ahead and start it. See what you can put together. See how things start to roll out for you. If you need any help, let me know.
Okay.
This is kind of my wheelhouse. So.
Okay.
But yeah, I'd be happy to help you at all. But I think
Okay.
it's a good idea. I
That's
think
good
it's
to
an
know.
excellent idea to do what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I know you've wanted to do it for a while. So.
Yeah, I've it's been in the back of my mind for a long time. I'm just formalizing a little bit more than I've talked about it before.
I think it dovetails well with the outreach that we're
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah, it's a perfect match with
I do too.
outreach.
Yep.
So what?
Sorry.
So what do we do when? I remember we formed a food stable committee. Somebody wanted to take it on, and we started the exploration, but there wasn't a formal. Is it a formal formation? Do we get board approval to do it, or
For the kind of
for what Dave was suggesting?
So my recommendation is a couple things. So there's some spaces that already exist for those opportunities, so that way the group that is formed, the committee that's developed, does not have to do additional work to coordinate those opportunities to provide that information. And so what I mean is two-part. So the data that Dave is talking about, we're working on, we do our end-of-year data, and so we're pulling all of that together right now, which is in my report that I'll have, should be ready for the next board meeting. But great opportunity to use those as talking points, because what we do is not only collect the data from last year, but we compare it to previous years, so we can identify those trends. And that's what we use to make informed decisions, right? The trends that we're seeing. So not what we just experienced this past year, but allows us to make a projection of where we're headed for those recommendations, requests that Dave's identifying for this purpose. So spaces that exist for this opportunity is the one that this board has done a really good job already of, is inviting Harold to our, is it May? May.
March. and-
March.
It was the M. Thank
It
you.
was an MA.
to our March meeting to share that data, do that presentation of this is what we need. The board makes recommendations. They have Harold Zier in that one. Councilmember Hopkins would be available for that conversation as well. But also Coffee with Council. They do once a month meetings. 2 council members are always present, and they rotate between different facilities around the community. I think that's still a good opportunity for that committee or a representative to go attend that, schedule that, put that in their schedule to attend. So that way, whatever information or what is being discussed amongst this board can be communicated and shared. What that allows is more intentional conversations, allows them to ask questions, allows you to provide that as follow-up, but it makes it more personal, right?
Mhm.
Versus, which is still a good idea if this group wanted to go to city council meetings and speak during public to be heard. And but with public to be heard is there's no opportunity for that dialogue, those follow-up questions, right? It's more of a presentation, and it is timed. I think we get, 3 minutes?
3 minutes.
And so Coffee with Council once a month is for an hour with 2 council members. And I think that'd be a really good idea, just to attend those and schedule somebody to attend those and share what work this board is doing and make recommendations there as well.
You know, the other thing that's nice about Coffee with the Council is that if for some reason multiple of us wanted to show up, it's already publicly invited. It's already on the schedule, right? So the sunshine laws, we're good there.
Okay.
So Dave, you wanted, like an example, if you wanted to do Coffee with the Council and Lonnie and I wanted to show up to offer some support or something like that, it's not a problem.
And then with that, as well as at the beginning of the year too, here soon, or at any point the board wants to, we do that presentation at City Council as well, if we want to continue that as well. And not just more of a presentation of collectively everything that we've seen.
That was done in May of last year, so.
So that's the other end.
Yes, you got that
That's-
right.
March
It's
that's
an M
what
month,
it is.
yes, very busy, okay. So does everybody support the idea of doing that? I guess there's no formal motion is my question. To form that committee?
If it's a formal committee, I think that would be okay to do a motion.
I think it's important to do that. I do.
All right.
In the coffee, could there be kind of a rotation, So
Sure.
everybody has the opportunity to be in coffee with city council, so they get to know them and they get to know who we are, whatever. It would be a great idea, not just
Mhm.
2 people, the same, but a rotation that this time it's you. I mean, you'll always be there.
I think that's-
whatever, and
that's a
then
good
we
idea.
take turns, also, all of us.
Mhm.
Lonnie?
Over this time that I've been on the council, we've been on the advisory board, we've been talking about doing just that. And I think the Coffee with Council is a great idea. I think Harold's presentation is very big for us. I think that, what was the other thing you noted? What we do to the presentation to the city council is important. But I still think if Dave wants to, he can take the opportunity to invite different council members to come and just say,
Good
let's
idea.
sit down and talk about things. You can ask me, everything has an opportunity to ask questions and stuff like that, so that's great. But I think it also helps to have a representative talk to people directly, one-on-one. Say, hey, how about meeting for coffee? I wanted to explain to you what goes on at the senior center. Because we all saw it. The first time we did the presentation, people were sitting there. The city council was like, they have so much on their plate. They don't know everything that they're
Sure.
in charge of. They don't know all the information about what something like the senior center, what we do here. So, excuse me. So I think it would also be important to leave the opportunity open for you to invite someone to coffee, especially if you see that there's a need for it. Like you see someone who doesn't seem to know a lot about the senior center, or if you see someone who is involved in something that we need our opinion voiced to. you know, that we need to let them know how we feel as the senior center.
You know, I don't think there's any reason they couldn't be invited to this board meeting. I mean, we got Matt, but, you know, if there's someone else that's got really something worthwhile to say, or they don't understand anything,
Right?
just invite them.
Well, we could definitely do that. That would be another option. I'm just thinking that there's not enough months for all the board members to be invited, you know?
Not between now and the next budget cycle.
Right.
But over the next year, you know.
But that could definitely be an option. Have people come to meetings so we could do the presentation to the city council, the presentation to Harold, then the coffee and conversations. Then you can invite people to come to the meeting, and maybe 2 council members at a time.
Right.
Kind of move them along quicker. And then if you feel like there's still the need to talk to somebody, you could always have coffee with them.
Yeah.
And bring somebody with you if you want, or,
Yeah.
but if
That's a great plan.
what about the sunshine law if there were 2 members of the committee and a council person?
I think that breaks it.
I think
That can't do.
Yeah.
Public meetings, but it's okay to have a representative.
Yeah.
Be
Yeah.
part of those conversations and set up those opportunities to have coffee.
And the more conversations I feel like that we can have,
I agree.
the better off we'll be when we get up and do our presentation to them. They'll all be like, oh, okay, we know what this is about. We understand what this is about.
Those are all great ideas. That's exactly the direction we want to go, I think.
Good.
What is going on right now, that started, I think, is the food dispensary. Council people are coming.
Right.
We have 3 or 4 of them.
We've had a couple of people
Great,
volunteer to be
They know what's
here.
it about, what it takes to do it, and whatever. And they enjoy it.
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, the last one, the new mayor was there, Mayor Pro Tem was there, so
Yeah.
there's opportunity to recognize.
Yeah.
Eric, you have something?
Just if we have a formal committee, we can start putting this on a calendar, because there are going to be times when coffee with council conflicts with the food distribution.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Once a month.
Yeah, so if we formalize it, then we've got a reason to have it planned in advance so that we don't miss any opportunities.
So you're saying have someone go to coffee and council and be here for the food distribution?
Well, not necessarily, but
Okay.
there are going to be times when both of them have it on the same day.
Right. No, but I mean separate people. Somebody goes to coffee and council, and then other people handle the
Yeah,
distribution.
yeah, because we can draw in other people for the food distribution.
We're okay.
Right.
If we're okay.
Coffee with Council is the last Saturday of the month.
Oh,
The
okay.
third.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
the third Saturday.
Third Saturday.
And then the food
And ours is the second.
Oh,
So
second.
it shouldn't be a problem.
Okay.
And again, with coffee and council, you're right. We can have different people go, so the same person doesn't always have to be there.
I think that's important.
Gives you a relief that you don't have, you're not responsible for being there every time.
Yeah, that's a good idea for a lot of
And
reasons.
knowing what we can open and say
Yeah.
or discuss.
Yeah, and getting up, training us.
Supposed to, because it's just one
It
person.
would be nice if they knew some of us by our first name.
Yeah.
To that level, where they know you.
So
Okay.
are you willing to coordinate, because what I hear is a lot of opportunity, coffee with council, et cetera. Are you willing to coordinate that as part of this committee?
Sure. Yeah, that's not what I had in mind, but yes.
So just we know that I think it's a great idea for us to participate.
Sure.
We need to make sure we keep people
Yeah,
on
somebody's
schedule.
gotta keep track of it, yeah.
Herd the
Okay.
cats, as it
Yeah,
were.
okay.
So
Are you
I
comfortable with that, David? Are you
Yeah, are you okay with it?
Sure, yeah. I don't know how much time this will take. I haven't volunteered for much this year because I had this in the back of my mind because I figured it could take some time. So, yeah, I'm okay with it.
I hear there's a lot of willingness to help if you need it, so let us
Yeah.
know. But I think it's,
Well, I'm pleased with the response.
Yes.
Everybody seems to.
so we need a
Yeah.
formal motion to form a committee. What did you call it? Publicist, advocate?
Do we, I don't know if we need a committee, do
Do
we?
we?
I think
It's really only one
If
person.
it's one person, you don't need to form
In
a.
case you get more people, does it matter?
Yeah, if you get 2 or more, then I think you need to form a committee.
So for now, just
For the
informal.
time being, I mean,
Okay.
let's see how it goes.
Yeah.
Okay.
If we need a committee, then,
I think it would be important to
Right, great.
identify somebody to do to add it to the agenda to kind of speak of what conversations, or is it whoever was scheduled that month for common council or had one-on-one conversations to share out with the board how those conversations went?
Okay. All right.
Okay,
So you're,
I'll have Eric down for the first 10 coffees.
fair enough. Thank you, Eric.
Be careful what you ask for.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, so we are now informally at, what do you want to call it so we know we can get on the agenda in the future?
Senior Center
Advocacy?
advocate?
I suggested board advocate.
Okay.
We're gonna get a badge for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I say more of
The
a,
star also.
I say more of a hat.
What are the center's colors?
Our colors, right?
Red, white, and blue.
It's been blue and gray.
Okay.
There you
Blue and
go.
gray bag.
Sweatshirts are going to be on order for next month. No, I'm sorry, take that off. Great, that's wonderful here. Our muse has told me that I got jumped ahead of myself. I need to, excuse me, I need to approve the agenda for today. Sorry, I skipped over that part. I need a motion to approve the agenda for today that we already started doing.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Lonnie, okay. Thank you very much. Hint. Okay, that's awesome. Bylaw reviews, it's included in our packet. We've already gone through it last time. Is there any other changes anybody wants to make? Okay,
Are we talking about bylaws?
yes.
Is that an error on the drafts that says, under number 1, the first number 1 section, 2.4? Should that be 2.84?
I thought 2.84.
Yeah, it's right on the first page.
Yeah, I see it.
Because the
Yeah, section 2 is 2.84, you're right.
2.84, yeah, that's what I figured.
Change here. This should be 2.8.
You can.
And then, are you open for comments?
Yeah, please.
Under Article 5, Section 1. Article 5, Section 1. I don't have a change to it. I just want to make sure the interpretation that I have is right. What I'm thinking is that at the annual meeting, it's open to the public and publicized, that's right. But this would be another means of input. You know, so we're moving from really no public meeting at all. We've never had any public at the annual meeting, to going to an annual meeting plus a meeting for input, which may involve contacting various agencies and say, hey, we're having our annual meeting, it's a public meeting, if you have any input, we'd like to see you. You know, something like that. Now that what I just said is not precluded by this paragraph, is it?
I don't believe so, but it's what you're asking about, being able to publicize it through what?
I'm sorry?
How you want to publicize it, that's your question?
don't know.
Oh,
Well, the fact that it says public, Dave, I mean,
It says publicized as such.
well, it says open to the public.
Yeah, so
I mean, any or-
what I just said is certainly within the meaning of this paragraph, I think. I'm just wondering if anybody has any problem with that, you know, that this is an opportunity to have input from the public as well.
I think it's covered.
I kind of assume that would be the case, but.
You know, like the Friends Board does. You have people from the public at your annual meeting, don't you?
Yeah.
So the ones that are invited to the Friends Board meeting are donors.
So they're all donors.
Only donors.
When you're a donor, you're invited to the annual meeting to approve the funds for the following.
But it's a 501c3 and anybody could come.
Right.
Yes.
So, okay. I'm just saying that as another, you don't have to do it, I'm just saying it's just another mean for input,
well, I think
outreach.
it can certainly be
Form of
another,
outreach.
it can certainly be another way for you to do advocacy work, is to get in touch with city's departments, I guess.
There you go.
Let them know.
I
So-
thought of that, but that's perfect.
We'll put it on your list. That's on your list.
Yeah.
Your list is growing.
That'd be a long list.
And if you wanted to well, I know that attendance wasn't great, so we took it off of this go cycle. Was when we were doing coffee with leadership, we were inviting advisory board members, friends board members, but the attendance wasn't there. And so we removed that out of the go for this cycle, just to try to see if we introduce it at a later time and it picks up again. But if that's something you're interested in, we're starting our planning for the summer go right now. And if we wanted to do, add that in there for the board to have an opportunity to have that open discussion, kind of like coffee with council, but with our advisory board. So if that's something you're interested in, let me know. We can look at planning that, scheduling that.
Hey, Ryan, question, a coffee with leadership, I never made it to any of those, but it sounds like a lot of people didn't make it to those.
Right.
But who from the city was in attendance for that? Was it rotating or
It was
this?
rotating. So we had our leadership, building leadership, between myself, our recreation program supervisor, Ryan Vinson, before that, Amy Hodge, our supportive services supervisor, Brandy Queen, Christina Pacheco, our director, was there, and then we invited leadership from city council to pair with us. I'm sorry, city council, our advisory board to pair with us, and our friends board to pair with us in those meetings as well. But again, the attendance wasn't there to keep it a regular thing.
Got it.
Yeah.
And we can always leave it that that's another option to expand our communication. That's another way that we can say, okay, we're ready now to do this because we've got the interest.
Right. So,
Add it to your list. David.
Yeah. His list is growing. Yeah. So other than 2.84, is there any other changes, additions anybody wants to make to the bylaws before they go to the city attorney?
Oh, yeah. You're sorry. You're sorry to ask me. I didn't quite understand on the bottom of the page, of the second to the last page, request to add a section 7 on open meetings, sunshine laws, that no two board members, what is that?
I believe it was just to clarify something that's already in existence, which is sunshine laws. It just brought that to the front. We have to be aware of no more than 2 board members can meet simultaneously at the
So
same
you
time.
just fill that in with it?
Right.
Oh,
It was just clarified that.
okay.
Minor change to what already existed.
Okay, following up on that then. This says no 2 board members. Should it say no more than 2?
I think it's
I don't
supposed
have
to be
the actual section.
I think it's
so I'll run it.
2 board members.
Well, 2 board members can meet.
Yeah,
Right.
no, I don't believe so, is it?
2 board members can meet, sure.
Yeah, two.
That's the only
So
thing
no
that can
more-
happen is 2 board
So
members.
no more than,
But then it should be no more than.
no more than 2.
Right.
Good. Good. Thank you, Joe. Anything else? So I think we approved them last time, did we not, Ronnie? So this is just a matter of
Adding these additional
adding it.
adjustments.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else? Now we'll move on. Okay. Thank you both. Thank you, John. Thank you, David. Board vacancy discussions. Just to remind everyone that we have 2 board vacancies to fill, looking for people who are residents of Longmont. We submit the names in March. I believe the interviews happen in April.
Correct.
So if you have anybody else or people you think that might be interested in serving, what I see is a lot of movement for the board to get out there and be more publicly visible. So someone who's got that penchant for that kind of thing would be nice. So if you can think of anybody, please get them.
That's why Scott's here.
We can see you, Scott. You can't, we're talking about you.
What are your thoughts on this, Scott?
That's a good question, Scott. Since you're here.
What are my thoughts on that?
Yes. Is it something you're interested in?
And by the way, it's being recorded, so
Don't feel like we're
Be
alone.
I think
careful.
deer in the headlights.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Okay, update on the Elder Exchange. Ronnie?
Yeah. Had a meeting scheduled with Northern Arapahoe leadership last week that was canceled due to scheduling conflicts on their end at the reservation. So we are in the process of rescheduling that, and in February I'll be able to come back and share where we're at. But, big picture, we have had funds approved from the Friends of the Longmont Senior Center to fund an elder exchange this year. I'm currently working on that application process so we can communicate out to our participants. My personal timeline, and subject to change, personal timeline is to have that in place so we can start communicating that out here in the next couple weeks. That allows us, our participants, to review, get this information, check their schedules, apply, so we can review in February and start having some of those opportunities for cultural trainings before we move into a March exchange. I'm assuming, again, we haven't had those meetings yet to identify dates, but I'm assuming March again to host when our Northern Arapahoe elders come down. And the reason why I'm assuming is because of the Denver March powwow. But again, haven't had that meeting to confirm yet. And so we just need to get this going sooner rather than later. And then I'm assuming, again, a big assumption, that we would be looking at a July visit to the reservation as well. I do not have the details yet, meaning not only the dates, but also how many participants, schedule planning yet, because again, we have not had that opportunity to have that conversation. But everything is in motion, and I'm hoping by next board meeting I have more information, details to provide the board.
Ronnie, how is the selection process for who goes to that work?
So we, senior services leadership reviews. So we have our application process. It is a written application, written typed, but it is a written application where our leadership reviews the questions. The questions are about involvement in the senior center. It is around enrollments around our programs around native programs. It is around availability as well, right? Because we can't have, using last year as an example, we can't have 13 participants commit to going in March and then only 4 of them going in July. So we look for that open availability for those identified months so that we can have our same participants go to the reservation as well. That is intentional to allow us to continue building those relationships and those connections that were established in March, and again, an opportunity to build upon them in July. So we want our same participants. There's a reason why we're not saying, oh, let's have a certain group host here in town and then a certain group go to the reservation. We want to build those intentional, meaningful relationships. We have a few participants that here in the room, board members who applied as a participant, not a board member, who were in attendance, and I can't speak for them, but collectively, the feedback was how meaningful it was to not only host but go, and where those relationships have gone since. And so, we want to keep that the goal, the vision to, again, not only establish and build, but continue building upon. So it's not how many, right? How many people can we get? It's who can we identify that can be a part of that entire process. And so our leadership group evaluates the applications, and if we need to have an opportunity for in-person, like 15-minute interviews, then we would set that up. We didn't need it last time, but it is leadership senior services leadership that reviews it.
So you'll know, let us know that in February, then you make the selection then shortly thereafter?
Yes.
For March?
Yes.
Okay.
My goal is to loop in our past participants to be a part of that process, to help do the cultural trainings based off of their experience for the new participants and their involvement to help us when we're hosting here in town, and be a part of some of those logistical pieces, right? Helping serve. Do we need them as group like trip leaders on some of our excursions? Some of those things. So. A lot of details to iron out, and I was hoping to do it last week, but it, for good reason, their schedule shifted. Yeah.
I just want to say that I think that video that was made was so impactful for us. That really gave me the feeling of I want to be involved. I want to be more involved with this. If I can bring my dog, it's perfect situation. So.
Right.
But, I really think that you can use that video to show people who maybe have a little bit of an interest, to let them see where they're going and what they're going to do, because it could really let people know exactly what's going to happen once they get up to the reservation. And that really did it for me. That showed me exactly what was going on, and I was really impressed by that.
Right.
So I would recommend that. Use the video if you need to show people, what goes on in July.
Right. And so that is the goal. The city, along with Longmont Public Media, is working on some additional edits to finalize it. And then once it is finalized, we saw kind of like the rough draft at the Native American Heritage Month celebration, and what I shared here at the last board meeting as well. It's once those edits are made, then it's going to be made public. It'll be on the city website, almost like the Sister Cities Little by Little video, how it was on YouTube. There's a YouTube link. But once they make those edits, it'll be available in public, and I would love to throw that on our website as well. I think it's great for the Friends website as well to have that on there, to really showcase what we do, the impact it has, and why we need to continue providing these types of opportunities, right, for cultural enrichment.
I would even say have it rolling in the lobby or in one of the rooms where somebody can go in and sit down for a little while and check it out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it made that much of an impact with me. So, and I just want to say too, we would like to be more involved in our night to host. We didn't really have a lot of direction last time, or we didn't know what all was expected of us. So we're ready to be a lot more involved.
And that's okay. There was everything happened very quickly,
right?
And so now that we have
we knew
one,
that,
right? And now that we have one under our belt, we know what to expect,
right?
And so not only that, with that newfound knowledge, we know how to what to communicate out, where the needs are, where we can loop in some of our advisory board, our friends board, our volunteers, all of those good things. So
great.
Absolutely, I'd love the advisory board to still be a part of that. That relationship building as well. So,
Great.
Yes.
Ronnie, I'd like to also bring up the Colorado Sun published an excellent article about the trip that Longmont people took up to the reservation. It was published in August 31st, 2025, and it's still on their website. And I don't have the technical capabilities, but we do have the permission of downloading that article in full and putting it into a PDF format. And that would be a useful kind of a handout type of thing. So I just want to put it out to people who are, I'm looking at you, who are much more technically oriented, that have the capability to do it. I have no clue as to how to do that. But they don't do it. But one of the things, I had reached out to them for reprints, because typically in a press situation, you can get a reprint of an article. Since they're totally online, they don't do that.
Right.
But we have permission to do a reprint, which would be a PDF.
Yeah, so it did gain a lot of positive attention.
Oh, and the photography was beautiful.
Yes.
And so we can use the photos. That's the other thing.
And so through the information from our last year participants, what's been communicated at the Native American Heritage Month celebration, from those who have seen some of these articles, there's been a lot more interest, and with that I have people coming in and saying, tell me more about this. I had a meeting last week, literally last week, about somebody who wanted more information, And with that PDF along with the Times Call article, that's easy for me to just,
Right. It builds a
then share
collateral,
to-
it
yeah.
builds a body of collateral that can be used going forward. you know, and-
Absolutely.
Yeah, so if anybody, I mean, I've got the link, pardon me, I've also got a frog in my throat. I've got the link if anybody needs the absolute link, but if you go to the Colorado Sun,
Right.
and then August 31st, 2025.
Didn't you send it to everybody?
Yes, he did.
To our board? Yeah, okay.
It's also
I thought that
interesting.
was the one I read.
Yeah. It's a great article.
It's also interesting to see how much play that got. You get statistics of how many articles and how much feedback you have. That handy.
Yeah.
And I
Pretty impressive.
And speaking of, let's see if I can grab that real quick because I reviewed that with that same participant in that meeting. And let's see if I could grab it real quick. And this was back in March when I pulled this data. And so what I did is looked at each article, who published the article, Colorado Times Sun, Boulder Daily Camera, Times Call, city website, and I looked at all their social media outlets where it was communicated at. How many people reviewed it? What is public information, right? How many people reviewed it? How many people liked it? How many people shared it? And even back in August when I pulled this data for the Friends, it was just, those numbers were just staggering of how much attention it's receiving and how many people are sharing it with others and are interested to find out more information. Let me see if I could find it right here. Social media. There it is. And so let me open this document. So back in August, collectively, between City of Longmont's Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Times Call's Facebook, Instagram, X, the Colorado Sun's Facebook, Blue Sky, X accounts, Boulder Daily Camera's Facebook, their X account, the Voice of Longmont Facebook, and Longmont Public Media, their YouTube page. As of August, and keep in mind, so we hosted in March, we visited the reservation in July. I pulled this data in August. At that point, through those collectively, was 6,630 views. So what that allows us to do is not only communicate this work, this important relationship, this work, these opportunities within our city limits, but now it's reaching outside, right? With those shares, with the Colorado Daily Sun, all these different social media outlets. And so at that point, 6,630 views, 207 likes, and not everybody, not all of those platforms provide that public information to like the article. 207 likes and 28 shares. But the Colorado Sun, they have 1 million visitors to their website each month, and I can't pull that data of how many people viewed it on their website. Times Call has 1.74 million people viewing their website per year, and the Boulder Daily Camera has 8 million people who view their website views each year. So again, those likes and views are just what's available, and that just scratches the surface of what, because that's all that's available to us, right? So just great opportunity for us to continue sharing the work that we're doing.
That's great momentum. That leads us into the resolution update.
Yes.
If you all recall, we did a resolution back September, October, asking the city council to basically recognize formally the land agreement from the standpoint of allowing elders, Arapaho elders, to become residents of Longmont. It's finally circling back, and
Met with the city attorney last week. He gave me my homework assignment, so now I'm working on the report I have to pull together for city council so we can get on the agenda. The goal is to have this the second or fourth week of
second because
yeah.
the Rotary.
Right. So our goal is the second, based off of the agendas the city council availability on the agenda at that point. But we had two options. It was the 10th and I think the 28th, and so we're looking at the 10th. The goal is to have this in front of city council on the 10th and to get this this resolution in motion. So.
It's a big deal. The reason we're trying to get it for the 10th is we've also been invited by the oldest Rotary in Longmont to present to their board in February 17th, I think, specifically about the Arapahoe exchange. They asked us to come present. So it's just momentum. With outreach and advocacy, it's just seniors standing up saying, pay attention. We're 30% of your population. Pay attention. So thank you for the work on that, by the way.
You know, I know it went really well because of the food. I said, go on, More so this year. I said, geez, and we had to start cutting the fried bread half.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because it was just going, and come on.
So last we looked, they were looking at the attendance numbers. So last year we had around over 300,
Yeah, 350.
over 300, 350, around there. And then this year they're still pulling the numbers together. Children, Youth, and Family, they're doing a lot of that work. Over 500 people.
Ah.
That's where we're at. Is we've had over 500 participants. So it's that.
We almost met
That
8.
knowledge and interest is growing, and our community is invested, which is
I saw sometimes some people coming back again. I said, oh, I'm sorry. And I would tell the parents, please be careful for the kids, you know, because you start putting too much in for the kids, they're not gonna eat it. That's the way I am.
Bianca helped raise the teepee in the park as well, so she's part of that process.
Oh, boy.
Something new every day.
A lot of good stuff.
Yeah, has been.
Yes.
Yeah, things are developing well.
Yes.
You're up for the manager's report now.
Oh, you really want me to
I
talk
just
a lot
keep
today.
talking, right? You're
Okay.
back. You're back.
So yeah, manager's report. Let me jump into that. So updates on annual data. I mentioned that we're currently working on that right now. So we are looking at two different forms of data. Our Friends of Longmont Senior Center data. Theirs is through the funds that have been provided to the Senior Center and Senior Services. We provide the data of how we use those funds. Programming, so not only how we used them, the impact it had for programs and our supportive services. So we're working on their data indicators, and then that helps build on our advisory board report. So that data transfers over to the advisory board report right now. So we'll have that. I'll be able to present that at the next advisory board meeting. Data as well, annual data. I'm working on the Longmont indicators for the city website. My deadline for the city is January 30, and that's just another opportunity for us to share what is coming out of our facility. So that data we collect gets transferred to the Longmont indicators website. And so yeah, just it's data time, data season, and we just pull it all together. We look at all those details of programs, wait lists, attendance, drop-ins, growth for not just all of our programs, trips, drop-in programs, our Spanish programs, which is growing tremendously. A lot of great things, and so I can't wait to share out in February all the great work that was not only accomplished this past year, but again, in comparison to the trends that we're seeing, and to really highlight that growth over the past 3 years since I've been here, of what we've seen and how we're doing with the resources we have, right? Through our city budget, our friends budget, our limited space availability, and so I'll be able to share those numbers out with you next month. Staffing update, currently working with recreation to get our therapeutic recreation program position. That was Ariana Heater's position, who left us a couple months ago. So still working to get that posted. We also, our office assistant Hector Martinez is no longer with the city. So I have worked with HR. We just posted that position as of yesterday. So our office assistant position is posted, is bilingual required, full-time position. And so public information, if you know anybody who'd be interested that is bilingual for that role to support here at the Senior Center, please encourage them to apply. So our goal is to have that posted for 3 to 4 weeks and begin interviews right away. We want to get that position filled as soon as possible. Facility updates. So our technology update, our Friends of Longmont Senior Center approved funds to improve the technology in every single classroom. So our projector and projector screens will go away, and we will have and the whiteboards, and we'll have a smart board that serves all of those functions. It's basically a tablet available, a computer. Think of it as a computer screen, touch screen. So we can pull up the internet on there. We can still do presentations. We can turn it into a whiteboard. Has all those same functions and capabilities. We only have 2 rooms that have the projectors and the projector screens. This room and D&E for our big programs, excluding the gymnasium. All of our other classrooms, we have a wheel-in cart, and we would have to set up projector screens in those as well. Because of that, it takes up space for participants, and there's no audio. We don't have any sound systems in any of those classrooms. So what this upgrade allows us to do is provide these same capabilities. Our speakers, our projectors, have those options available in every single classroom, and that allows us to maximize our space for programs. We don't have groups looking at our schedules or fighting for certain spaces or time, so they have those capabilities, right? Their classroom capabilities. Every single classroom will have audio and visual now, which is fantastic. So we have a meeting today. Today's the 8th, right? Yeah. Or no, tomorrow. Tomorrow is the 8th. A meeting with CCS, the company that has been identified and approved to do this work, to look at scheduling. When can we get them in the building based off of their timelines for purchasing equipment to start setting it up. So we'll have that work going here soon, and this is a huge upgrade for us. It allows us to also increase our revenue as well, opportunities for outside groups to rent our spaces because of those capabilities. They will have an option of it will have a camera built into it as well, so it has those options for virtual classes. It allows us to really expand what we offer and how we offer it. So we have that taking place this week, those discussions. In room G, the very, very last classroom where we have our we call it like our arts and crafts room. It had tile flooring.
F.
I'm sorry, I did say G, huh? I put G in here. So room F. And we just got new flooring in that classroom December 22nd. They came in and did that work December 22nd through the 24th. What that does is, if you've been to the Civic Center and it looks like those wooden planks, but it's like it's not linoleum. I don't know what material it is, but they replaced it with that material. So on your way out, we can walk down that hallway and I can show you that classroom. But the groups that are using it love it. I would like to have that in more spaces so we can have more spaces for arts and crafts, those types of classes. We are in the process of replacing all of our tables and chairs. It is on a replacement cycle, and we're due to have them replaced. These ones are in pretty good condition. A lot of them are bigger tables that are used more and, say, D&E are damaged. And on that replacement cycle, we are getting new ones. The new tables that we're looking at, we saw at Brighton Senior Center when we did a tour. Our staff went on a tour during one of our closures a few years back. And it's aluminum. So instead of this plastic covering, it's aluminum. So you can't damage it. It's very sturdy, it's strong, but it's very, very light. The most importantly, it's light. For all the rooms that we set up, tear down for the next classroom, these tables, so these are half tables, so they're a little bit lighter, but the bigger ones are pretty heavy. And so it allows us to have lighter tables that are more sturdy and a great investment that'll last longer as well. So we are getting those tables. Those ones we already have on order, so we're going to get those here soon. Chairs, however, we are looking at that. I've tasked our recreation program supervisor, Ryan Benson, to go take a look at different types and styles of chairs. What we've run into is when we have these cloth chairs, they tear pretty easily. Not only do they tear, they stain, and they're hard to repair sometimes. And so we're looking at a different type of chair that is sustainable, easier to clean, but has, of course we want things like the arms on the chairs and are comfortable, right? So I've tasked him with finding out what style and types of chairs he would like, and I would like to bring those selected options here to the advisory board for review. recommendations to try. You get to try out all the chairs and make a recommendation so we can make to help with our decision making. And so once that, I'm hoping by February, that our next board meeting, we'll have a couple of them that we can test out. So once we have those, I'll share that with you. Let's see, lobby, we're looking at replacing the light fixtures, and we have 4 different light fixtures. We want to replace those ones along with adding wall art, some art. We have, so during the Elder Exchange, our lap robes group created 2 quilts. One of them we took to the reservation when we went in July, and it's the Longmont flag along with the Northern Arapaho flag, and they made one for them as a gift to represent our 2 communities coming together, and this for the first ever Elder Exchange. And then they made one for us here at the Senior Center. So I want to display that here in our lobby for everybody, for all of our participants to come in and see, and along with the plaque that explains why it's there, what it is, and what it represents. And so really, really good stuff this year. You know, our building feels great. We got new carpet, we got new paint, we got new flooring, we're getting new technology, and we have new water fountains, new fixtures, new wall art, and it's just walking through our hallways. I know we can't get a new building, but it really feels new. It has that welcoming feeling. Just walking any space of our building, it feels fresh. It feels nice. It feels, and just again overall welcoming, and a lot of good feedback from our participants. So they notice all of these upgrades and these changes, and a lot of good feedback there. So cameras, we talked with the advisory board back in September. Recommendations for cameras, conversations around safety and security. I am working to replace 3, I'm working with ETS, our tech departments, to replace 3 current cameras. We will be adding 2 additional ones. This was and one of them was per recommendation of this advisory board. One of the additions will be the front desk camera, so it'll be kind of behind our front desk staff, facing forward, so it kind of looks out into the lobby. And again, for safety and security, we're able to evaluate who's still through that camera, who's coming in and out, but some of our interactions in the lobby. Along with one outside of by the parking lot, so would that be I guess that'd just be the east corner over here, outside of room F. Faces the parking lot, but it'll be a 3-way camera. So it faces the parking lot. To the left, it'll be able to view our drop-off loop at the front of the building, and then to the right of that, so behind 1, 2, 3, and behind that will be facing the front door. So it again captures who's coming in and out of the building.
Ryan, is that through a Ring or some other service that that cloud stores that video, or how's that?
Yeah. So our ETS, our tech department, they have that security. They manage all those security surveillance.
Got it.
And they provide certain accesses to different buildings.
Got it.
And so I work with them to order it, and I work with them to install it, and then they just add it to my capabilities. What I'm able to do.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's it. I mean, that's it for the cameras. I want to kind of come back and circle back with our team, and I know the board recommended possibilities of having cameras in some of our common spaces, hallways, lobby, things like that. We talked about maybe the classrooms with no audio but just visual recordings. So I just kind of want to circle back to our team and get feedback there before I make any of those types of purchases or move forward with any of that. But I am committing to the front desk camera and that additional one outside of our building. Any questions? Yes.
Excuse me. I want to compliment you on how much progress you've made over the last few years, you and your staff and the Friends group and the City Council and your staff. You've really come a long ways in a couple of years.
Thank you.
Good job.
Yes.
I appreciate that.
Well done.
Thank you.
I have a couple of questions
Yes.
on your report. on the, on your annual data, do you have a means of relating their different activities, like programs, let's say, programs for Hispanics? Do you have a way, I know you count those, do you have a way of relating that activity back to the cost of your budget? Or you could do that for any of the, for your outreach programs or whatever. Can you relate those activities back to a cost?
Oh, absolutely, right? Because then we're able to show where we're spending, what funds that we are using from our city budget a lot, coupled with our friends at the Longmont Senior Center approved budget, how we're utilizing those funds to support the programs, and then with the attendance numbers, so not only the program's growth, but how the participants as well for every of those programs are increasing. So we're able to show that, this is what we're able to do with this amount of money, but if we are looking to add, if that need is there to add, then we're able to identify those requests as well.
Okay, so if there was a group, veterans, Hispanics, over 50 to 60, whatever, you could, if you have the data in the system, you could relate it back to the cost.
Yes, absolutely.
So, if we wanted to go to the city council and say, we think that you need to double the expense of the expenditures on XYZ service, we'd have that kind of data available.
Absolutely, and through multiple spaces, right? So that example was through our Spanish program specifically.
Mm-hmm.
We have intentionally hired a bilingual recreation programmer to help support that growth and be that point of contact for those the group liaisons, the volunteers, to help increase it and grow it. And so along with that, coupled with our supportive services, we have 2 bilingual resource specialists, how many appointments they are taking, what their waiting lists look like because of the language barriers, right? What their wait list looks like, that goes into my request as well. When I make additional requests for any staffing, but supportive services specifically, it has, my request is a bilingual resource specialist because here's that need.
Yeah, that should be really helpful. Looking forward to it. The other question I had was, there's been a fair amount of turnover the last year or two, or maybe not, I don't know, but I know the therapeutic recreation program coordinator, he had a tough time filling that. And then this person, I think is it the second person that's left?
So that is our first person.
Okay. Anyway, I'm just wondering about turnover. Is turnover a problem, given the labor market? Is turnover a problem? As simple as that.
When I first took this position, there was high turnover, right, for different reasons. We've had a very consistent staff the past 2 years for sure. I've been here in this role for 3 years, so 2 years it's been very consistent, so a lot of consistency. Those who have left, like these 2 vacant positions, it's for their own reasons. And so, outside of what we are in control of, our HR does a good job making these positions and the salaries competitive in comparison to surrounding communities for the same roles and responsibilities. But everybody is leaving for their own reasons versus workload versus hours, those types of things.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Consistency, how it feels as a staff member.
I think we've grown quite a bit, and at the same time, there's always, just like the senior center always has an opportunity to grow, so do individuals.
Right.
So they all get to make their own choices as to where their direction is in life.
What's the total number, roughly, of personnel for those seats?
Roughly 15 of us, including our custodial staff.
15?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's including our custodial, our full-time and part-time.
Yeah.
Those are bodies.
Yes.
And then your FTEs are what, 12, 11 and a half?
Around there, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. 10, 11, yeah. And so when I mentioned high turnover when I first started, that was because of workload, responsibility, and so when I came in, evaluated all of those things and identified the need. We had at that point 2 people doing the work of 3.5. And so that became the budget request of the data. Pulling the data together, here's our programs, here's what we have 2 people doing, we need more. And my first year we got that with the support of the advisory board as well, recommendations. Was approved for an additional recreation programmer, seniors programmer. And so we've just taken a lot of time and energy to evaluate workloads, responsibilities, to make sure it's equitable across the team, developing really strong systems and structures to make sure that the programs, the expectations, everything's consistent, everything is sustainable. And as Bianca had mentioned, we've come a long way through that evaluation process, developing those systems and structures. And it just, along with the feel, the physical feel, right? But knowing the work that we have done, that's another layer of walking through our hallways, and everything feels really, really good right now, knowing that work, that intentional work that we did to build those systems and structures has really paid off. The work-life balance has improved with that group, that team as a result. And, turnover, people who have left for their own reasons, from what we're in control of, but it's never been due to the workload, due to work-life balance, due to hours, due to pay. So, yes.
I have a question. I don't know if you're in the position to share the answer yet, but what do you think you're going to request in the next budget as far as staff?
Right. So 2 years in a row, this will be the 3rd year in a row, support services staff, I need to increase space there. If there's an opportunity to get at least 1, I would like 2 more.
Right. I'm thinking 2.
Right, we need 2 more. There's a wait list. This board has been very good about keep an eye on that Boulder County data on senior population and how it's increasing, and looking at those trends, not just in Longmont, but Boulder County as a whole, those who are moving into our community and those who are aging into that 55 and older age group. And so as a result of, we're seeing more participants in our programs and more people scheduling appointments with our supportive services team for the resource support along with counseling services. Counseling services has been pretty consistent. They've seen an increase, but that comes in waves. But our recreation service, our resource specialists team has seen that steady increase because the needs, right? And so, 3rd year in a row, I will make a request for 2 resource specialists, one of them being bilingual required. But I also follow up with a 1 resource specialist request in case that can't be met. So I give the data and support for 2. The impact 2 resource specialists. Right now, 4 to 6 weeks out, wait list. If we had 2, that can minimize it to 1 week to 0. How nice would that be if we had somebody who walked in and needed that support and, come back to my office, versus schedule an appointment and we'll see you in 4 weeks, we'll see you in 6 weeks. A lot can happen in 4 to 6 weeks when we are making appointments to make sure that our basic needs are being met. Mm-hmm. And so I really paint that picture of this is the impact 2 new resource specialists would have to address that. But if we had 1, we'd knock that down to 2 to 3 weeks, right? And so better wait time, still a lot can happen in 2 to 3 weeks, but budget's always an issue, right? So I highlight the need for both.
Right.
So I will absolutely 100% start there. And our recreation services team, there's pretty solid, pretty consistent right now. Could we always use more? Absolutely. But with the way the budget is, I really want to be intentional. I don't want to give my wish list, right? I really want to be intentional with the needs are, so that way it really identifies the impact it has on the services we're providing.
Sure.
I think the outreach effort could give some really good information for Ronnie.
Yeah.
Good question.
Ronnie, would you have the space if you had 1 more person? Where would you put them?
That's a great question. So, right, we're looking at everything right now to where we don't have space. We're at capacity. So we do have, and so with this new position, the therapeutic recreation programmer, they are a shared position with recreation. So we get them 50% here at the senior center, and recreation at the memorial building gets them 50%. So we have 2 offices. Ariana shared an office with one of our other staff members, and our offices are small, number one, but number two, it's hard to take care of business, have meetings and appointments with participants, with group leaders, trip leaders, our drivers, and city staff as well, right? Team in person or through Zoom, through Teams. And so we recognize, like, okay, we run into some issues there. So what we're looking at doing is, what spaces do we have? How can we schedule them to where they have their own office? And so right now we're looking at, for that position, to work with our the volunteer office and counterbalance. So when we are not having our scheduled spaces for our volunteers, peer support volunteers appointments, then we can use that room in that office as their own office. So it'll be like a shared office, but not at the same time. And then if this gets approved, one position, right, is we have one storage room, but with that storage room houses I was sharing with everybody the projectors on the carts and the projection screens. We have a room that stores all of that stuff. It'd be nice to get all of that out right now and get it out now, and we could turn that into an actual office space. So where would they go? We're hoping that would be the option. We have some stuff to clean out there and some walls to paint, but that is an option, along with how do we take a look at, if we get to, how do we take a look at the city's flexibility scheduling plan to see where we can make adjustments, right? If somebody's on, let's say, a 4-10 schedule, can we look at finding them so they have their uninterrupted space as well? So, being creative is the answer. Yes.
Ronnie, how often is this Three Seasons room out front utilized? It seems like it's empty 90% of the time, and I didn't know if that could be more effectively used for something.
Yeah. So the sunroom, it's used pretty regularly during warmer weather.
Okay.
Yeah, we have. So during lunchtime, we have a lot of individuals from the Meals on Wheels, instead of eating in the cafeteria, coming out here to have lunch. Those who aren't here for programs but just here to socialize, they tend to go out there a lot and hang out, and it's a nice spot. But yeah.
How many people use the blue room?
So that one we haven't been able to pull. It's funny you mentioned that. We were just talking about that. So we've looked at a lot of those systems and processes. How do we collect that data, right, to show the growth? Participants for registered programs are easier. We go into you have to register online, you have to pay. It's easier for us to pull a report. Our drop-in programs, you don't have to register, you just show up. And so we've really cleaned that up for the created structures, expectations for our coordinators, our volunteers who are leading those groups, to track attendance, turn them in weekly, monthly, so we can show that data. And so for, where was I going with that? I'm sorry. For our pool room, there's no sign-in, there's no registration. It's when you show, we ask, we don't require to pay $1 to play for the day. And so Ryan and I, recreation program supervisor, we're having that conversation the other day to how can we pull more intentional data for our pool room. It's used a lot, it's used heavily. Some regulars, a lot of new faces that come through periodically, but how do we pull that data to show how many people are coming for that not a program, but that recreational use as well? So we don't have that answer yet. We were thinking, okay, well, let's count up the dollars, how much money is given to say how many people, but not everybody gives the dollar provides the dollar when they show up. So we were thinking, do we need to actually check out the equipment? What impact will that have? Is that another layer of is that going to increase somebody's workload? Things like that. So we were thinking about maybe a volunteer. So we were bouncing around a few ideas to kind of figure out how we can pull more intentional data for our pool room. That's the one space I will say that we don't have data coming in that I want. You know me, I love numbers, but that's the one space where we don't have data. Good question.
Okay.
Well, I'd like to, if I may, speak for the board and say thank you for what you've done here. You and your staff have done a tremendous job.
Thank you.
Well done.
That does mean a lot. Thank you, and I appreciate that very much. And knowing what we do, behind the scenes, and some days are greater than others, but we still collectively have done a lot of great work, and I appreciate you sharing that, not just as an advisory board, but as an observer, as a participant. And that's just great feedback to give to my team. So we have a team meeting scheduled today that I'll be sharing that out as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What's the work that's, I don't know how far it's been approved, but what's going on with the back patio?
So, friends, do you want to? So, I'll kind of loop everybody in. Councilmember Popkin, I don't think he was aware of this one yet. So, when I came in 3 years ago, I think in my first year, evaluating space, right? Space need. I brought in an architect to say, hey, this is our floor plans. This is our building structure. If we were to expand, where would it be? What could it look like? Here's what we're seeing in our programs. I need more classrooms. That projected additional staff, right? We're seeing these trends where we need to continue to ask for more, and there'll be a reason for those asks, again, not a wish list, right? A reason for them. So I brought in an architect to say, hey, we need at least 2 to 3 more spaces, classrooms, big classrooms this size, if not bigger, along with office spaces. We're maxed out, right? So we don't have to clean out spaces to closet space because we don't even have storage space. We don't have to clean out storage space to create room for staff. And so what we did is he took that information, drew up some floor plans, and we landed on one that I'm like, this makes sense. What he drew up, and I could bring that to the next board meeting as well, just for a visual, was taking the billiard room and pushing that back out to where the patio is, that north patio. So pushing that billiard room out there, and where the billiard room is now would turn into 2 classrooms with the ability to turn into one big presentation room, kind of like our D&E room, but actually a little bit bigger. And so that would give us 2 more classrooms there by pushing out the billiard room to that space. What that would also allow us to do is take that room G over here on the corner by Meals and Wills. That is a third of this size. It's not a very functional space. It's kind of a weird L-shaped, right? And so when you put a table,
that's the class that I teach. I teach a class, and we're always past max. On that room.
The whiteboards in an odd location that's not really functional or conducive to the space that's provided.
No.
And so without tables, right, and chairs, you could probably get 8 to 10 people max if you're lucky. But as soon as you start adding some of the tables in there, it really reduces how many people can be in that space for a program. We do have some smaller groups that utilize it, but with that configuration, it allowed that space to turn into this room, this space. So G would turn into this size room. Billiard room would be bigger than D&E. So we got 3 functional classrooms now, along with by pushing that back and walling that off, that patio area off, we would get up to, I think it was 4, if not 5, office / storage spaces.
Really?
Yeah, and so great information. All right, how much does that cost? I think at that point it was like $3.5 million. So what is that now?
Oh, that was
Today's
it?
10 million?
That was it?
Right. and so 3.5 million, and so it's okay. Well, where do we get that money, right? We see where we're at right now with the city budget. Things are very, very, very tight. Want versus need, right? So presented this information to the advisory board, but along with the Friends of the Longmont Senior Center, and it sounds like they're really making that a priority for some fundraising. I can't speak for the Friends board, but it sounds like it's a priority. It's on their radar.
We've got it in a deep discussion right now. That's all I can say. It's on the list.
Right. And so that's why I like numbers. I love the data because it shows the need, but it allows me to communicate to everybody who's involved with senior services in the senior center. Is like, hey, here's our needs. How can we work together to address them? And so the Friends does a really good job supporting where the city can't. The city does a good job giving us a budget that allows us to support operations and our programs and our services, and collectively working together to make sure we're able to do what we do efficiently and effectively, right? But again, the data shows the needs increasing. We need more. We need more space. We need more staff. And those aren't wants. Those are needs. And I like to be proactive versus reactive. So this is all this information is for us to be proactive. So that way, when it hits us in the face, we're not like, what do we do? Where do we go? How do we address these needs, these supports? So always a moving target, but it's fun. I enjoy those things, and that's why I appreciate the recognition from the advisory board, the work that's been done, because the moving target, it's not always easy, but our team has done a really, really good job to be proactive with these needs, supports, programs.
And so that doesn't include the other patio, more towards the offices?
The north patio over here?
No, but I mean, the north patio is outside the kitchen, right? Or the...
Oh, no. So that's the right outside the billiard room.
So that is the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So the billiard room would be pushed out there.
Okay,
and we'd
good.
get more office spaces over there, and that'd allow room G to expand out to this size, and then that's current billiard room space to turn into two giant classrooms. Two classrooms with one giant, with a partition that makes it one giant presentation room. So,
Very cool.
I always try to be a forward thinker, and how do we utilize what we have?
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Eric, you had a question?
I had a question about something else, actually.
Okay.
What kind of expertise are you going to provide for the new systems that are going to be installed? Because otherwise, you're just going to have a member of your staff come and set up every time.
Yeah, I thought you were going to come teach us how to.
Actually, I'd like to volunteer to learn.
Yes, absolutely. No, I appreciate you saying that, and so that's where I was headed as well too. Is CCS very aware that we as a staff don't use it. New technology for us also, but understand the positive impact it will have on our programs and usage. So working with them to not only teach and educate us on how to use it, right? I've had early conversations, and again, we're going to meet tomorrow to start ironing out some of those details. But when we made that presentation to them off of our needs, they walked our facility. It was built into our conversations and agreements that they would help provide opportunities to teach everybody. And so we'll be selective. It'll be our staff. It'll be our current group facilitators. So some of our regular instructors to say, hey, come in here. Let's schedule you on one of these 5 dates to come learn, and then create another committee to be that teacher, right? So when we get new group facilitators, new volunteers, we can have that availability to pull them aside and get a group of people to say, okay, well, let me show you how to use this equipment. So I appreciate you saying early on that you want to volunteer to learn how to utilize this so you can help teach as well.
Ronnie, there's probably 3 or 4 at least in the SCTC lab, that group that I'm a part of that would
Want to?
yeah,
That's perfect.
Awesome.
be eager to latch on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Take their names.
Yes, I'll talk to you after. I'm just kidding. I'll say,
Speak and you shall get.
John Philbin said. Good question. Thank you.
Councilmember Hopkins, would you like to give us your
Sure.
report?
Thank you, John. First of all, apologies for, I thought I was walking in slightly early to this meeting and ended up showing up 58 minutes late. So apologies, I had not updated my calendar despite Ronnie's very clear email saying that we were changing the time for this year. So that has been changed, and I'll do my best to be on time in the future. Happy New Year to everyone. Thank you all for your service, and for new and returning folks, appreciate it. Sorry I couldn't join you in December. I had COVID. I didn't think you'd appreciate it if I was joining you in person. So I figured I would spare you all there. Also just wanted to thank everyone for, 5 months of the senior food market? Months?
7.
7 months,
It's
thank
7
you.
months.
7 months. What stood out to me from that not only was how many people were served, but how many people from this board actually helped support the event each month. And I think that just speaks to the level of community that this board helps foster. We talked a lot about facilities in the last half an hour, facilities and staff, but it's also the community and the people that you're able to welcome in here. So thank you all for the time and effort that you put into taking out of your Saturday mornings to come and support others in the community for the food markets. Don't have a ton of updates right now. The main things that I wanted to share were mostly that a couple transportation related updates. We had a presentation from transportation staff earlier, I guess, in early fall of last year, I think it was, to this board, and just wanted to share a couple things for this group's awareness and perhaps other folks in your circles and communities to take back to. One, if you were not at or did not pay attention to the City Council meeting in December, there was a CDOT presentation, Colorado Department of Transportation presentation, on the major changes happening to not just the 119 corridor, but specifically the intersection of 119 and Hover. I think that construction will be starting in April of this year, where they're going to be redoing that intersection entirely to try to address a lot of the traffic buildup that's been happening both at Hover and along 119. In a very high level, you will be allowed to do all the same things that you're currently doing. The biggest change is there's going to be an overpass built, 119 going southwest towards Boulder, so that if you're going southwest, you'll actually skip the light. And you will go right over that. And so there'll be a couple merge lanes built, that overpass will be built. So it'll get messy for about a year at that intersection, but all in the spirit of making that a much smoother, well-functioning intersection for decades. So that's going to be something to stomach. That's going to overlap directly with the bike trail work that's already been happening that you've probably seen along 119. That is expected to be completed by September of this year and open. That you can use that whole trail from Longmont to Boulder on that bike highway. And even if you don't bike, that will mean some more people will bike who will get out of their cars, which means if you're driving, you'll hopefully have some less traffic there. So those are huge changes come into that part of Longmont and that key intersection. You may also have noticed on 119 that there are some speed cameras now posted there. Those have been active for the last 6 months. They were just issuing warnings. At the turn of the year, they are now issuing tickets now. So if you were not receiving any ticket yet, you will start to if you go above 10 miles per hour over the speed limit there. So please inform yourselves and others.
I've already got mine.
Well, then you're an inaugural winner there.
Congratulations.
I believe, I have the certificate of learning the hard way.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that is active too. So please just relay that information to folks in your circles. Always like people to understand that.
That generates money for whom?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's a state highway, 119. So I believe that's probably going to the state, it's not going to the city in terms of revenue. So that'll maybe, but CDOT, I totally understand what you're saying. CDOT is actually doing a lot of the work on 119 and the Hover intersection too. So there's federal dollars that are going into that, state dollars, and some local county and city dollars too. So that is a all hands on deck effort to really improve. That is a tens of millions of dollars project that is happening there. And then the last thing I'll just note, Ride Longmont just hit its 1 year anniversary. And so we actually have 1 year of data now. I think there are over 65,000 rides that were used. We're looking at that data to understand when it was used, what types of services, and potentially how it could be expanded in the future, budget contingent, of course, or adjusted to better serve the needs. But we just hit that 1 year mark, and really encouraging to see. I don't have data yet as to who used it for the senior fare versus the non-senior fare. That would be interesting information, I think, for this group to be aware of. So I'll try to get more granular data. I will also be now the liaison to the Transportation Advisory Board and the Planning and Zoning Commission going forward into this new council term. So when I can bring more data back on that, I will, specific to senior citizens. But just thanks to anyone who has used it and continue to share. That will continue. It's a 3-year program currently that we started last year. And then the last two things are just dates to be aware of in January in case you wanted to speak up or show up to other events that are beyond this board. The first Coffee with Council of the year is on Saturday the 17th of January. That'll be Mayor Hidalgo Farron and Councilmember Prieto, who will be the two members for that Coffee with Council. Where is that going to be? That is going to be at...
And what time?
And that'll be at 9 a.m. at the Civic Center Mall area.
Yeah, Civic Center.
Yeah, at the Civic Center.
350 Kimball.
Yep. That'll be at the Civic Center on Saturday the 17th at 9 a.m. And then the first and potentially only, though at least first, open forum for City Council of the year will be on Tuesday the 20th of January. That is an atraditional or atypical City Council meeting where it's just a public forum where everyone, I think, gets 5 minutes to speak who wants to speak and can speak on any topic. And that's also where Council can engage in a back and forth if we feel so inclined. With what you decide to share. So that is Tuesday the 20th, I believe. That will be in the evening at normal City Council meeting time, which is 7 p.m. And
January or February 20th?
January 20th.
January 20th.
Yep, January 20th. So just want to make folks aware of those key dates and some of those key updates. Congratulations again on the inaugural Speed Camera Award. Yeah, Lonnie.
I just want to say welcome back. I'm glad I know personally, I'm glad you're going to be our advisor. I think everybody is pretty happy that you're going to be our liaison.
You're the advisor here.
But yeah, I mean, we've enjoyed having you in the past year. You've been very supportive of our work, and I just want to welcome you back.
I appreciate it. Thank you for the warm welcome back. And just know that even if I am not participating actively in some of the discussions when Ronnie's sharing about the budget needs and the staffing needs and the facility needs, I'm very much taking notes on that, especially as we're going into, it feels like the budget conversations never end, because they don't really, but always taking notes of the needs of different facilities and parts of our community. So.
Yeah, I'd like to second what Lonnie said, but also to thank you for showing up for the food tables the way you do. It's kind of putting your money where your mouth is and being there to support us. Appreciate that.
Of course.
And your December 16th council meeting, the support for the food resolution. Thank you for bringing that up again. I'm hoping that can get some traction to make that a city priority this coming year.
Thank you. I hope so too. The current city council plan is to have our kind of new council retreat at the end of March. I don't know if that will change. The original plan was to do it in the end of March because there was going to be a special election at the beginning of March, and so we were going to wait till the new council member was joining because that was decided by acclamation as there was only one candidate. Prospective council member Kalkoffer will be, I think, sworn in next week.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we'll make a change on that, but typically it would be the retreat, I think, where we would start to set those priorities in a broader context.
We have more data if you'd like some, just in case.
I'm glad to hear that. I would absolutely welcome
We
it.
can do that.
Yes.
Great.
Thank you.
All right. So we got reports. We don't have many, but it brings up the idea of we have 8 different committees that we're supporting at this point. Friends, Outreach, Transportation, Senior Employment, Sustainability, Housing, Food Tables, and AAA, AAA. And I wanted to put in front of the board, we have people who are also in charge of those committees, but some that we have no representation. So with Friends, John Pillman is a representative, Outreach is Lonnie, no one in Transportation, Senior Employment, or Housing. Eric is doing Sustainability. I'll do the Food Table. We don't have anybody representing us at the AAA meetings. I'd like to start with that one. That's 10 meetings a year. They don't meet in November and July, I think. 9 to 12. It's the first Friday of every month. The first meeting this year is January 9th, this Friday. I'm going to attend that. Can't attend them all, so I'm asking the board members to volunteer to attend at least one meeting. That way we can spread out amongst everybody here. How do you think about that? Yes.
So
You don't have to volunteer for that.
thank you.
Yes.
Received word back that anybody could attend as a observer, but for somebody to be on the board, it has to be the same person.
Same person?
Yeah.
Yeah, I found that out when I was there.
I'll bet.
Yeah.
Darn. Well,
That's from Lindsay.
Can it be 2 people?
I asked. She said it has to be the same person.
I just wondered.
Yeah. Same as our board. I mean, it has to be
Right.
the same person.
So that was, Arlene was on the board, right?
Right.
So, but there was, what we're talking about was separate from Arlene, right? Where we had people go.
Arlene did both.
and
She was
Arlene did
co-chair
both.
and she was,
Yeah.
when
And
Lonnie
she would bring
left the
back-
board, she took over that.
So just to have, I guess my thought is, tabling what Arlene did for a minute, actually being on the board. The other issue is having some sort of representation, right? Where we can
Right.
take notes and then report back,
Right.
right? We can, that can still be a rotating, right?
Yeah.
Because that person is not on AAA board.
Yeah. It sounded to me that it had to be the same person. I think being the same person because it's providing that information on behalf of the community, the advisory board. The request was the same person.
Is there any flexibility, you think?
I asked.
Yeah. I'll go to the first meeting. Let me think about that for future
Maybe
meetings.
you talk to them.
Maybe
Yeah.
convince her.
May ask them. Okay. So it leaves senior employment, transportation, housing with no representation. And it may be a matter of how much information we want to bring back to the board. A lot of it's available to us public anyway. Any feelings, any thoughts?
I
Mike?
can continue with housing.
Okay.
It hasn't been as big an issue as it was when I first started on housing. You know, there was a lot of information to bring back and a lot of information to disseminate throughout the committee, the advisory board. I can do that. It just seems like there's less information
Okay.
to share. They've kind of leveled out in the work that we've been doing. Although we can always have somebody from the housing authority come and speak at a monthly meeting.
Yeah, I want to talk about that in a
Just
second.
update everybody on
I
it,
think,
sure.
yeah, I think we'll talk about that in a second, about who we want to have come in and speak to us.
Sure.
Housing could be one. That leaves transportation and senior employment.
Dave, I can speak on senior employment. So no real updates, but Dave and I talked before the meeting. We're going to get together over the next couple of weeks and formulate a plan
Okay.
going forward into 2026 in terms of what we think we want to try to accomplish in that regard.
Okay, great. Well, Eric?
Sustainability and food table are sort of in the same bailiwick, so maybe those should be joined together.
Okay. Would you like to take on the food table?
I'll take on the food table.
Okay, great. That leaves transportation.
Transportation.
I don't know enough about it. That may be another one that's got, there's not as much information coming back. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Well, for a while it was about ride
Ride
Longmont
Longmont.
and things like that. But now that's kind of leveled out. So I don't know if there's a need to have someone reporting monthly.
Okay.
I would agree with that.
That was my thought. Where's there information available publicly for that? Just,
On the city website,
okay.
yeah.
All right. Well,
Or on, do they have a separate website,
For
Ride
transportation.
Longmont or anything like that?
Other than the actual application itself,
Just to get the
no.
rides.
There's a. I mean, you can go to the city Ride with Via website, which is where you download the app. But no, otherwise it would just be the city website
Okay.
there.
So it would show things like the other transportation, what's the,
Via.
yeah, Via.
In terms of other transportation services that exist in the region,
Does it show what are available and then to designate to go to their separate sites, or how does that work?
yeah. So if you go to bus transit services for the city of Longmont, that's where you can find Via Mobility Services. You can find Ride Longmont. You can find Ride Free Longmont. RTD information, Fast Tracks, Flex Ride. That's all on one page. If you search just bus transit services,
Good.
so that's generally where that is.
Transit.
Yeah, bus/transit services is where that's listed.
Okay.
And then from there, you can also see easy access to various bike information and walking and share the road regulations and all those rules too.
Okay.
That's pretty much what transportation encompasses, so
You know, if it becomes an issue,
That
we
is our
can,
reference point. Anybody who wants more information, that would be good enough.
yeah, good point.
Well, and if this group is interested, I'll be the monthly liaison to both the Transportation Advisory Board for the city, but also for the Denver Regional Council of Governments and for Northwest Rail Commission going forward too. So as this group is interested, if you have questions, I'm more than happy to just use some of my report time to, give you some regional transportation updates, since I know the transit services are so valuable here.
You could do the transportation report.
The de facto basically,
Yeah. You end up doing it.
Thank you for volunteering for that one. Good.
Just want to share that area agency on AAA deadline is January 16th.
16th.
Yeah.
Well, fortunately, there's a meeting on Friday. I'll see if we can talk to them about it.
But my question to her was, and the way I framed it was off that recommendation, requesting, my computer's getting back. Question from the advisory board: can the board rotate members based on availability to attend as a representative, or does it have to be one person as an official representative? And she said it has to be the one member to fill the spot without rotating.
Okay.
And one point is because they need to vote. If they need to vote, there can only be one. They have voting rights.
Oh, do they post in advance things that we'll have to vote on, or does it just come up at the meetings?
I think they posted in advance. I think you knew what was coming up
Okay.
from meeting to meeting.
All right, I'll check with Lindsay again.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Ask Lindsay. She's on top of all that stuff.
Okay. Do you want to check with people who's going to be here Saturday and let Arlene know?
Oh, yeah. Is Arlene still going to be involved?
Yes. Yeah, she's still going to be the cattle prod person in charge of moving us around for the foreseeable future.
And I think Ann's going to want
She's
to.
going to be there too.
I move them all over.
So how many people are going to be involved Saturday? Okay.
And then just let Amy know. I'll give you her information, the volunteer coordinator. And just a quasi report for the year, the 7 months that the food table was in existence, we supported 518 households, 1,099 people were served, and almost 10,000 pounds of food in 7 months. And that's because of this group. And I want to thank you all for that.
Can you say those numbers one more time?
I'm sorry.
Can you say the numbers one more time?
Yes. We have 518 households, 1,099 people, 9,544 pounds of food.
Pretty good.
And the spin-off from that has been the Friends have set up a small food booth, if you will, or in the corner here. We expect that to possibly blossom. How's the turnover been on the food?
It's been slow because it's been a very soft opening for it. And I'm heading that up. And I've got several people from the board, plus volunteers. I'm looking at my sister as well over here. We're going to, we're beginning to then start advertising the fact that it's available to people. I talked to Valerie just a few minutes ago. I've sent Ronnie an email, but I know he's been busy. So I don't know whether you've seen it.
This morning.
Okay, good.
That's good.
Okay, and it's going to go into the senior center. I guess what's happening.
What's happening.
Yeah, the newsletter that goes out on Fridays from the senior center. So it's going to begin to roll out. John suggested that we make it some sort of little flyer for the food table. I'm a little concerned about that because I don't want to get cross purposes with the food table, because that really is aimed at families, where these little carts out here are aimed as individuals or maybe couples at the most to get a meal, to get a thing or two to help them. It's not to shop for a family kind of thing.
Good point.
So I'm a little concerned about that, but I'll work it out with John.
we'll see.
We'll work it out.
this-
We'll see.
And there's some interesting community, when we started with the food table, that's growing.
Mhm.
And then Donna took that idea, went to get non-perishable items from the food pantry. So there's a outreach happening and a bit of
Mhm.
cross
And I'm still
purposes
going
in
to
it.
I still go to the round pantry.
Yep.
The way the cycle is right now is I don't go to the food pantry, the round pantry, until the second and fourth Wednesday of the month. And so I'm
The day
missing,
after the-
yeah,
Right.
our food table is the Saturday. I don't go to the round pantry until next Wednesday. But I actually have something set up in my garage to store stuff so that I can help with both the food table and the food library.
So it's growing. Eric?
It's
Can I
growing
just get that number again, people who are volunteering for Saturday?
I think it's
on Saturday. Yeah.
6, 7, okay, thank you.
Quick question, if anybody knows this. If I had somebody with a truck and who could pick up the food prior to the event, the people who pick it up and bring it here, do they have to go through the whole volunteer process, or can they just help me out?
I think I checked with Naomi, mostly from an insurance standpoint,
Okay.
because we work under their insurance, not
Okay.
here. I'm sure she'd welcome the help.
Oh, yeah, I know she would.
Yeah.
I'm sure everybody would, but I have to convince them to take time out to do the orientation, so we'll see how that goes.
John,
Yes.
that 1,000 plus individuals that have been through, those are duplicated individuals, right? It's not, you have the same people being served.
We don't track that. We just track
Yeah.
numbers.
Right, okay.
What's interesting though, the last two food tables, there's been an increase in number of family members served. So we're starting to see people coming through the feeding 4 and 5 people. I think the last time we had one woman that fed 8. So the outreach is beginning to make more of a difference to more people. So really good to see. I came in yesterday, and a woman who I've seen her every food table waved me over and says, "Will you be here to help me cart my food out to my car?" Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a nice recognition of the senior center doing that kind of outreach. And I think it bodes well for what we want to do in the future. I really do. Anything else?
I don't know if this is the appropriate time, but I wanted to bring up something Dave mentioned at the start of the meeting about the meeting start time. My understanding, right, is we wanted to start this earlier because of outreach, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And I assume we're still going to talk outreach.
Yep.
Okay.
And let me just clarify too, because Ronnie explained it to me and it made more sense. We would have had to post it as 2 separate
Oh, I
meetings.
understand. Yeah.
And so this way we can just roll it right into
Yep.
the outreach.
My
And
only
even if we get done early, we can start outreach right away.
my thought is that, and I'd like opinions on this. I think we can dedicate, I don't think we need an entire hour each meeting for outreach. I think we can do it in 30 minutes. And my recommendation is that we start the meeting instead of 9, we start it at 9:30, with the understanding that 30 minutes will be for outreach, 2 hours will be for our normal meeting. And I think we can accomplish that. I think that's enough time. Anyway, I'd like some opinion on that.
Do you mean still have outreach at the end, right?
I don't really care. It could be the first 30 minutes or the last 30 minutes. It doesn't
To have it first was what caused the problem. So to have it last was what solved the problem.
I don't think the first 30 minutes would be a problem, because as long as the cameras are set up and we're recording, I think that was the issue.
It was posting them too. Posting it and doing the extra work. Eric had already said that he would do the 9 o'clock meeting. That really wasn't a big deal. But it was getting approval for 2 separate meetings, posting 2 separate meetings. Apparently that caused some.
So logistically, you have to post it as 2 separate meetings. So not only 2 separate meetings, Eric would have to do 2 separate recordings, post 2 separate recordings for those 2 separate meetings. But because it's the work that the advisory board's doing, it could be built into the agenda, outreach. So as Lonnie had mentioned, moving through the agenda and putting that as the last agenda item, and that way, that's being mindful of Councilmember Hopkins' time as well. So if he doesn't need to be part of that conversation, and move through the agenda, gives him that flexibility. Christina, the director as well, or any other board member who's not part of that group specifically.
So that's fine. So my proposal is we make this a total with the 2 meetings of 2.5 instead of 3 hours.
Okay.
And we start at 9:30.
I have another thought.
So it would have been on time today?
You've been closer.
Slightly late.
Exactly.
I have another thought. To go 10 to 12:30.
Whoa.
Yeah, I can't.
What's that?
My afternoons.
Okay.
It's easier for me to do the 9:30 to
Is there lunch
9:30.
What does everybody think of that? 2 ideas up. What does everybody think of 9:30? What does everybody think of 10 o'clock?
You want to start with 9:30?
I prefer 9:30.
Yeah, I would too.
Same,
You would?
9:30 here. Yeah,
Yeah.
same here.
Okay.
That
That
work for
seems
you?
like the general
I'll
opinion.
make it this
All
way.
right. Bonnie, how about you?
That still allows us to operate within the scheduled room space right now.
So start at 9:30, finish at 12.
9:30 to 12 or 9:30 to 11?
We still go to 12.
12?
Do it.
9:30 to 12.
We still have till 12, right? Yeah.
And then I was saying, I don't have a question. Do we adjourn this meeting and then start
So-
outreach? Or we can start outreach anytime we're done?
Right.
Just transition to the next agenda item.
Okay.
But again, if it's more, because that falls under your open discussion, it's just board updates, open discussion, falls under that.
Okay.
But then again, mindful of.
So everything's rolled up into one meeting.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And so adjournment is still need to, once done with conversation, first, our motion, second, and then Eric stops recording at that point.
So we just roll right into the, okay.
Yep.
So 9:30, going
9:30.
forward, that works for everyone? Good.
Yeah. Okay.
And then unless there's more new business, I would go right to outreach. Lonnie, you're up. Lonnie,
Working stays in place.
Lonnie,
Oh, okay.
you're up.
All right. Hi, everybody. I put together a small draft of information about where we start with outreach. Hang on 1 second. I sent it to Ronnie, so I thought I saved it.
John, you misunderstood something. I thought that only the outreach committee members would continue on with the meeting. Is the whole board going to do that?
I think it's open to
I got a
any.
problem. I made a commitment at 11 o'clock because I thought it was going to be from 9 to 11. Then just the committee was going to be going from 11 to whatever.
Yeah, I think if you're not part of the committee, if you'd like, that's fine.
You're okay
Yeah,
to
you're-
just leave whenever you can. You know,
Yeah,
you need to.
Yeah, I need to today.
Okay.
I didn't understand.
Dave, I can fill you in too when we get together on our other topic.
Right.
I can fill you in if you like.
Okay.
Did I send you an an email that with an attachment on it?
I don't think so.
Aye. Okay.
Short meeting.
Okay.
Slacker.
I'll look on my desktop and I'll see it's like on hold or something. Okay, so to begin with outreach, I would like to get an idea of what we're going to be discussing and what we're going to use as reference. I think this is going to educate all of us on how to present to the public and how to talk about the senior center. Ronnie, were you able to get a flyer?
For the outreach.
Yeah.
So not yet. I have a
Okay.
meeting coming up to look at some of those details because we were looking at March, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could have a flyer. We could keep it very simple. we could simply have a packet available that we would use whenever we do any presentations. That way, even if a pop-up comes up where we can jump into something that's going on in the community, we know what we have. We just use the same thing that, we use our standard packet that we've developed for it. So we need to come up with that. Also the places, and I did have a list of where we could start to talk to, where we could start to reach out. And I think there's 2 different categories that kind of balance each other out. I think there are the 8 communities, maybe not all 8, but the housing authorities' properties. There's at least 6 that are regarding older Americans, have older Americans living there. So we could go to those places. This would be, as we talked about, our tryout, our dress rehearsal. We could use Village on Main, and then talk to the people in the various housing communities. There are also other housing communities beyond that. We could look at doing those. At the same time, I would like to get out to like the Rotaries, the Kiwanis, the people who could in their membership have the age group that would be interested in coming to the senior center. They also could be people who would possibly be interested in supporting the senior center, in doing anything where if you wanted to do any fundraising. Mm-hmm. These may be people who would say, geez, I think it's a great thing going on in the city, let's give some money to it. And so I think that's another way to go at the same time. We can do this slowly. We're going to be doing this in baby steps, because let's remember, we don't want a whole bunch of people coming to the front door saying, we now want to sign up for the senior center if we don't have the room for it. Or we don't want to have people coming and saying, we found out these services are available, we want to make appointments, and finding out they're doing it 6 months or 6 weeks, out. So we don't need to rush this at all, but we want to be clear about what we're doing. So what does everybody think? What's all your input on what I've just said?
I like the idea of doing a trial to test our message and refine it. The one area I think that would be I think that'd be a nice problem to have if we had people banging on the door. I understand throttling it for maybe a different reason, and it's just to make sure that we've got a really good, refined message going forward. Mm-hmm. But I don't think we're going to run into the risk of having a flood of people if we move more aggressively. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to be our issue. I think our issue is more that we're all delivering a consistent message, and that we've got to refine to the point that that the folks that we're delivering the message to are receiving it properly.
Anybody else?
What sort of message? What is our message that we want to get out? I think start there. That's a great point.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that we have a message that's consistent, and then pick the places we can test with. So what would be our message, do you think? What do we want to say to people?
What goes on here at the senior center? What the senior center has to offer everybody?
And so kind of couple things to piggyback on what Lonnie had mentioned. So when this conversation first started, it started because of 2 data points from that Boulder County Aging report. It was it 28% of seniors in the Longmont community know about the senior center and use those services, right. And it was something like 35% of seniors in Longmont reports feelings of loneliness. And so with those data points of, well, only 28% of our Longmont seniors are accessing the senior center, and then there was that, what was it, 38%? Reporting feeling lonely. It's okay, well, how do we bring awareness for socialization, right? and awareness of the programs and the services. You know, and we were really being intentional with that being the message of awareness, because you know, I know you mentioned that you don't think there would be an increase, and a good problem to have. Outside looking in, if I'm somebody who is finding out about these resources and a big need, and there is that increase now, that 4 to 6 weeks gets pushed out to a
You're talking
longer
about resource,
right.
Your what do you call
Support
it?
services or
Your support
counseling
services staff. Yeah.
And-
Resource specialist. Yeah.
Right, and you know, it can create that
That's a good
longer wait list. Of course, with that awareness, then right, it's good. It's good for people to be aware, or the community to be aware. Programs different, right? Wait lists are wait lists. Space is space. You know, I'm not worried about that. I think the focus the concern was, or just not even concern, just something for us to be mindful of, is the impact it can have on our support services, specifically that wait time.
Right. And also thinking, if you get somebody who you encourage to come to the senior center and they're happy about it, you know, they're excited to look into what there is to offer, and tell them, oh, by the way, you have to wait 4 to 6 weeks to get what you need,
Right.
it can be
Discouraging.
Still excited.
off-putting.
Yeah.
It can turn around and say, forget it. You know, so we want to kind of pull it along with the senior center being able to offer things as much as we're telling people what they are offering.
And maybe that's part of our message too, you know, is there are classes, there are activities, there are a lot of things you can do here. Some of them are even drop in, right, that they could probably pretty quickly avail themselves to. But a resource specialist, may we describe that, what is their role, what do they do, and make it clear, you know, that that's gonna have a longer lead time for something like that.
Yeah.
Right. So in that presentations, we need to carry cold books
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
so they can pass on and see what is valuable for whom, what.
I'd like to launch off what you said. One of the key places, again, just getting information out, is the local doctors' offices, especially the general practitioners and especially the general practitioners who see seniors. And if they have copies of the Go and copies of the resources, since now they've been separated, they have resources available to them as they recognize what's being needed by the individual that they're talking to at that time. So they can hand them a Go. If there is loneliness that is detected or needed, here's a place you can go, literally go, to go and participate in whatever. But if they need services, there's that services thing that they can utilize and help launch that.
Yeah.
So if you can just see that the doctor's offices, my own practitioner, who is a geriatric specialist, I see that she gets goes. I grab them and take them physically to her so that she has
Oh, you
them
bring them to her?
and can utilize them.
You bring them to her?
I bring them to her.
Okay.
We're talking about doctors, whatever, then you talk about the Clínica Salud. Salud Clinic.
Right.
Gets a bunch of people. Dentists or.
I mean, that's a really
Yeah.
soft and quick solution
Right.
to get,
Our
I mean,
center-
for
our center
outreach
gets
is
those
just to
people.
make sure that the doctors who see people
Yeah.
can have the information in
There's a
front of them
podiatrist
and
that's
are
on
aware.
our list.
Yeah.
That gets them every month, or
Yeah.
every quarter,
Yeah.
whatever.
So if you just do that, you know, individually with your own doctor. I see Dr. Lyset. I don't know if the rest of you do, but I see that her office gets supplied with Go magazines and with the supplement
The
as well.
resource one, yeah. So
Yeah.
I want us to be, just remind this group to keep in mind and keep a few things in front of us while we do this work and start building this and unpacking. Same approach that we took towards the food table, the once a month, sustainability, right? How do we develop something that is sustainable? So it's not just a one and done. So what we did is a lot of work. We talked about it for I think a couple of years, right? Looked at a couple different options. The direction the board went with finally was maybe it's not us that needs to do this work as a board, right? people coming and going, seeing the value, schedules, flexibility, availability. It was a how do we partner with someone who's already doing this work and be that support in the process. We give them the space, they do the scheduling, they get the schedule the volunteers, they coordinate the food, they communicate out. This board just connected those dots. So while we're doing this outreach, I want us to be mindful of a few things. The sustainability piece, how do we keep this ongoing? How do we look at our resources? I would love for everybody in this work that we're doing to have a resource, a Go magazine. We ran out of those, a month early last season.
Really?
Because of those increases that we're seeing, people coming in through our door. And so we need to keep those those Go magazines available for the participants, not for the informational piece. Because each magazine is roughly almost $10 a magazine. Our budget can't support production of another couple thousand, right? So
I got 2 cents before I leave.
Sure.
Maybe 3. I think the message is twofold. One is it's kind of an output. What are the kinds of services we have to offer? Make sure that's spread around. The other part we don't want to forget is input as far as are there unmet needs out there that we need to pick up on and provide some kind of service for. So I think it works both ways.
Okay.
The other thing is, did you mention service groups?
Yes.
I
Like
think service
Rotary, like
Kiwanis.
Kiwanis, like that type
Right,
of thing.
I think that's a really good idea. And I think that could build a lot of indirect support,
Right.
speakers for lunch or something like that. And I think there's a lot of ways we could use that leverage,
Yep.
through those people.
Right.
So these
There you go.
additional,
Thanks, Dave.
so these additional locations where we're sharing out who we are, services we provide, that awareness. Maybe it's not the Go catalog. Maybe it's a flyer that has a QR code that they can scan,
Exactly.
and it takes them directly to the online catalog versus the physical copy that costs us money, right? So how do we use our resources? Obviously, we want to go as cheap as possible, free if possible, versus trying to figure out a way where we can, because our budget can't support producing more Go magazines, and we're running out for those who are already here, already attending programs.
In another area, how they can support and how they can donate,
Yep.
Yeah,
That's what the Friends is working on right now too, is that outreach as well.
Yeah.
Twofold. So,
I think this is a great opportunity to finally, spread around Longmont what goes on at the senior center. And really do it, not just for people who are 55 and older, but people who are business people who, do a lot of community service in Longmont.
Because the one under the road, you have a lot of money. So,
Yeah.
they need to know where they can live. Once we get the presentation is given, and what he's offering, that some of their loved ones or neighbors can use it, then they know that hey, scoop up some money, you're never over here. We need it.
do they have $3.5 million?
What do you think?
From an outsider's viewpoint here, I think that cross promotion is very, very impactful and can be very valuable to you, meaning partnering with Rotary and what have you. My involvement here is I'm aging. I saw it on the website. I saw it at 9 o'clock on the website. And when I first was aware of the senior center, it was because my mother was moving to town. Her impression of the senior center was not a positive one for no reason other than the word senior. And when I was communicating with her, it was old biddies. Old biddies is what she didn't want to deal
We
with.
don't need that yet.
When she came in for her first quilting class, she walked in the room and basically said, well, you ladies ain't old. There's a barrier to entry that comes along with the senior center. And I don't know if there's a way to market this differently and by eliminating the word senior. Because I've heard a lot of talk tonight or today about The services provided, services provided. This center is so much more than services provided, especially to my mother, who is a weekly participant here, actually daily sometimes. And I will probably enjoy ping pong here. The community that comes out of here is far more important. We're talking about people that are disconnected from others. How do you bring more people together, not just for coming for the services, but because this is where your like people are, whether it's coffee in the lobby, whether it's what have you. Don't have to come here for an activity. You're coming here for community. And how do you promote the community aspect of this more? It's been so powerful for my mom. I mean, she has coffee everywhere. It's because of the connections she made here. It doesn't always just happen here, but that initial, this is the hub, and everything else happens from outside of the hub. And then you have Rotary, and you have other civic organizations that you can cross-promote with in order. The Civic Center, or the Senior Center, is a small idea in comparison to what you guys are actually doing. But the verbiage on this is senior. I mean, I'm 59, I'm gonna be 60. This is me. But good Lord, it's a growing population within the city.
Sure.
How do we get more
Boulder County.
people that aren't thinking that this is, everybody that comes to this place is older than me? How do we understand that it is actually dynamic and it's multi? I don't know, I'm thrilled with the way you guys are doing here, and I wish I had $3 million. My first thought on this is how do we get better exposure? Because you look at the front of this building, everybody drives by this building, what do you see? You see a building with a door in an odd location in reference to the parking lot because it's a little bit of a longer walk or what have you. But if you're doing an outside patio, everybody wants to put it towards the park side. Man, if you had an outside patio on the front of this building so you get better exposure, when you drive by a restaurant that's got a patio out front or whatever, you notice that restaurant. How do we get more people to understand there's friends here?
Let me answer something first for you. Ronnie has done some work into looking into the idea of changing the name.
Excellent.
What have you found out?
So, 2 different boards. So Dave's gone. It was the board before Dave, and then when Dave took over as chair. So 2 different groups. It was brought up. So what we did is a little bit of research. We did some surveying with they had other things for us to take a look at the boards. And one of the questions was name change. And a huge majority said, no, we don't want the name changed. Participants, whoever participated in the survey, don't want the name changed. This is who we are. This is makes me feel welcomed because I remember one person specifically telling me if we change that name, it makes it sound like it's a senior or rec center, which is available to the general public, and they want a place. Collectively, feedback I received wanted a place where it felt and sounded like their own, for a specific community, seniors specific. Looked at even some. Well, what about what was it? Around aging well center, or aging well center. So it's focuses on mental, social, emotional, physical wellness. It's not just like you're saying those negative perceptions of bingo. We always hear that. We don't even offer bingo, but people go, "Oh, you guys do that? Play bingo? No, never play bingo, right?" And so, how do we bring that holistic? Communicate that holistic support you provide. Again, mental, emotional, social opportunities, right? So we did that, 2 different boards. The surveys that we did and the participants we had, it was a hard no.
That's interesting.
You don't expect that to be that.
It's very interesting because you're preaching to the choir there. You're asking the people that are already in the door. I would argue is a bad word, but I would argue that you're looking for somebody like me who qualifies as a participant here to not be afraid to walk in the door.
Right.
So how do you appeal to the next generation that's coming in order to continue that energy?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, bigger question, how do we survey a community that does not come to our location with the
Yeah.
resources and staffing and
Yeah, 70% of the community. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So big question, right? Without asking for additional funding for us to allocate towards resources, staff, supplies to get out in the communities or send out surveys for us to receive back. That's a big question, right?
The Longmont media component to what we have going on, those little snippets that you can see on YouTube or what have you are really powerful. I think street fairs that we have, I don't know if there's kiosks that can be made with those short little videos, and short videos, not a half-hour documentary, but the 3-minute things hold somebody's attention in order to, and how much, what's the cost of that as opposed to a $10 pamphlet? I feel guilty for taking this thing out. But yeah, how do we get more touches to open eyes up that allow people to understand you should come in here and check it out?
Right, so two-part. So with the resources and availability we've noticed those trends, the growth based off of what we're doing, word of mouth, the experiences from all of our participants going back to their own circles. And
Yeah.
hey, I did this, they offer that. So word of mouth versus coupled with, you mentioned city communications,
Yeah.
marketing.
Yeah.
And so we partner with our comms team for those opportunities. And that's why we also partner with, I wish they could get us every single week. We're on a big rotation, right? Their marketing model is we have to distribute a minimal amount of communications to our community so things don't get buried and lost.
Mm-hmm.
And so where do we fall in that communication to the community along with all the other departments around the city with their communications, their own marketing as well. So we're on a cycle and a rotation with them, but that's why we also use additional opportunities partnering with other departments for the Native American Heritage Month celebration to host those all community events here at the Senior Center to bring that awareness. This is who we are, this is what we offer. Opportunities just to get them in the door, free of charge, great program, 500 participants this last year, in November. So providing those opportunities coupled with Friends of Longmont Senior Center, their outreach, their additional outreach as well to help us market not only the support that they provide to the Senior Center, but what those donations do to support our programs and our supportive services. So more awareness, right? Coupled with the work that the advisory board is doing now for their outreach, along with attending community events, setting up tables, staffing those tables, all of those things. Oh, and I forgot recreation. So we partner with Recreation for Longmont Lights, host Santa here, get all ages in our door, 1-year-old all the way to 99-year-old in our building. This is who we are. This is what we offer. I think it starts with that to be right. It's not a yellow walled room with that buzzing sound in the background with those
lights that are
yellow
blinking.
fluorescent lights, right? It's like, oh wow, this place is great, and then we always have our information available on our walls, our doors. It's right. How do we get them in the door first? Those working seniors that you're talking about, those 55 and greater that are still working. That's why we expanded our hours as well. Opportunities to access those supportive services, set up those appointments for resources, counseling services, along with attending evening programs. So we've been working with, our recreation team's been working with the 55 to 65 that are still working participants. It's hard to get that information outside of what we have control of for programming. So it's if you're working, how do we create different programs to meet those different needs that you were just talking about as a work, not only the time availability, but also what your needs are. What programs would you like to see us have here in the evenings that would get more people in the door. So we've been tapping into, again, the resources that we have available to us to collect that information, to do that work.
So, real quick, cross promotion, we were saying, is really valuable. If you can cross promote with, we're going to see what the numbers are for Longmont Ride and what the percentage of seniors are doing that. Can you cross promote with Longmont Ride? Because if they're getting in a vehicle to go shopping or what have you, they should know about this as well. And then the housing component of it as well. I know I said something good when he starts writing something down. To get him to think is
So
interesting.
you're saying that inside the Longmont Ride, or Ride Longmont?
Whether it's being
could be
in
info, could be a flyer about
it
the-
could be when you sign up for Longmont Ride and you go to get that senior discount, because you're gonna pay $1 because of your age thing.
Right.
Is there a connection to a senior center information?
Interesting.
Is there connection to senior center information when you're applying for a discount on your taxes? How do you get those little cross promotions so that there's awareness? But what you were saying a little bit earlier, which is the word of mouth, that is the most valuable.
Yeah.
And to the gentleman that was sitting, who left earlier, he was saying, how do we get in front of city council and how do we let them know or what have you? Honest to God, don't undervalue the 3 minutes of public invited to be heard. Because if you got somebody that's going up to public invited to be heard, and don't wait till you're asking for money. Go to public invited to be heard
Experiences.
and speak to the positive things that you've done at the senior center or seen at the senior center, or you don't have to give a big thing, but give a little snippet so the senior center is said, is spoken at every city council meeting in a positive light, so that we're just doing awareness. We're not asking for an agenda. There's not a committee involved in it. There's none of that. It's senior center's great. They just did a trip to Holland. We just had the successful food thing. It doesn't have to be a lot of details, but it's in the conversation, the daily conversation of the city.
Even an awareness and invitation.
Okay, I'm not quiet. I'm gonna be
No,
quiet now.
you hit a lot of great key points, and so that's what earlier I was sharing the data around the social media, around just 2 articles. That was 2 articles and 1 video.
Yep.
Around just the Elder Exchange, and in each article along with the video, it talks about not only the Elder Exchange, it brings attention to who was providing that financial support to make it happen, the Friends of Longmont Senior Center, but also touches on the additional things that come out of here. So that little snippet alone, what was it? I think over in August, that was 1,600 people reached in social media, from what we could track, right? In such a short period of time, that how many of those don't know who we are, fall in that 55 and greater age demographic, in our city limits and outside of our city limits. Like, oh shoot, they got a lot of good stuff going on over there. And I mean,
This is great.
there's a lot of moving things. How do we get all this information out through? I mentioned, how do we be strategic? So we use the resources that are available versus having to ask for more, going in front of the council, ask for more, or my budget request for more. How to use the resources that we have to not only accomplish that goal, but get that word out. And there's a lot of good work in place right now between the Friends Advisory Board and the things that we're currently doing, bringing more departments into our facility. And those numbers, those attendance numbers, the wait list, the counseling services, the supportive services, the wait list for trips and on-site programs, our drop-in programs, everything is increasing because we continue to keep pumping that out as much as possible. This past year, I think it was around 4, if not 5 different articles from Times Call, Boulder Daily Camera, and city website, and then Colorado Sun, around who we are, what we do. We got those 2 new vehicles again from the Friends. Big article on what that allows, how many people will come off the wait list, how many more people get to participate, why that request even came, and why it was approved. So a lot of good information continue to go out when these good things happen. So how do we keep that momentum?
I think you're doing a great job.
And what did you've wanted to say something, I'm sorry.
You wanna?
Yeah, let me think. Oh, I know what I was gonna say, was in response to some of his statements. I think one of the most powerful things that can be done is to use your participants to move into the community for outreach themselves.
Word of mouth.
And I think they're ready to be empowered to do that. I think it might possibly be underused here.
Anything, a little encouragement?
Yeah, we
Need a
need a
button.
little direction.
A button that says, ask me about the senior center.
I mean, and I'm thinking maybe something even bigger long-term is there is a rich community of classes here that offer people to make things. The seniors make them, they don't have anywhere to put them. Why not have something like a sale once a year, and let the seniors come and have their own booth, and part of the funds go here, part they might keep. And they can talk to people in the public, and they can come and say, oh, how'd you learn how to do that? Oh, senior center. Or, I don't know. I'm just thinking things like that to actually be empowering the people that are here using it.
Sure.
And outreach.
I agree, absolutely. Thank you.
I like that
And
idea.
as you mentioned, an opportunity that the impact of the word of mouth, right?
Yeah.
That's why we're so intentional on creating positive experiences, right? Through wellness classes, free of charge, minimal charges, $2 classes, trying to keep our trips provide more opportunities outside of city limits, right, through our buses, and make them affordable as possible. So that word of mouth, really intentional in creating a great experience for all of our participants, whether it be supportive services, resource connections to resources, counseling services, our programs, and where was I going with that? And with that, what that does is our friends, right, are the donations that come through, and Donna could probably talk about that.
Yeah.
We get large donations from our participants because they want to give back and provide more opportunity because they know how they felt here at the senior center, and they want to continue to give those opportunities to additional seniors in our community. And so we try to be really intentional with that because of how important that word of mouth is and the impact it has on donations as well.
And the Friends are working very hard and diligently right now. We've just acquired a new CRM, which is Customer Relationship Management System, which is going to give us about 10 times more capability in outreach and attracting, increasing our donor base in the community. But we're just getting started on it, and our learning curve looks like this. But we just, as I said, we just engaged with it. I do want to go back to one thing that Ronnie said that I think is important and that we've got to understand, that we're really dealing with a very large community base. We have the seniors who are 55 to 65 who are just coming into the system, and they're very much more technology based than the current members that are participating, outgoing participants who are the 65 to 85 to 90 plus community that are already engaged in the senior center. And the mention of QR codes is what got me going on it, because I don't use a QR code. I hate them. I will not, I won't have anything
Let's
to do.
try not to hate.
I try not to hate, but I won't use it. Partly because I have to do a special thing on my phone in order to even operationalize the darn thing. However, I do recognize that younger seniors and younger people use them all the time. It's no big deal at all. So for the younger people, a QR code's a great thing. They should use it. We should actually make it available. And I could see that having a little flyer in, in one of those sleeves in the ride Longmont that, want to know more about the senior center? Click on this QR code. I think it's a great idea. But for the older members, the paper go is the thing they utilize. the Go on the website, on the city website, you don't want to hear my opinion of it. It's too hard to use if you're over 65, 75, and you're not used to really using a website to register and all that. It's very difficult. And the improvements that were made to it, unfortunately, weren't all that great.
Especially as a first option.
For,
You can learn it.
as the first option, yeah.
Improvements
I mean,
to-
may want to have a class with the SETC to help people learn how to navigate the Go online.
Well, we don't force anybody into, right? That's why we have two different options for
Yeah,
everything. Paper
right.
copy,
I
online.
understand,
Same as
but
registration.
the Go is heavily utilized on paper, especially with the seniors over 70, because they don't really want
Right.
to go onto the
I
website.
agree with you.
So, and that's the reason I was talking about going to the geriatric, to the doctors who, with the Goes, with the paper version. And then there's just lots of things that we can do, just lots of
Oh, yeah.
things. And I think this year, because the Friends and with, yeah.
Continue.
I'm sorry, the Friends and the Senior Advisory Board, working together, we're collaborating, both casually and intentionally. And I think that's going to really put us in a much better place by the end of this year. So it's gonna be exciting.
Yeah.
John, you had something you wanted to say? Did you?
Scott wanted to finish off one thing. I do.
Oh, okay.
I do.
I thought you had said earlier that you
Said
had
something, I heard a couple of things here over the last little bit. The Go is really valuable.
It's very valuable.
The Go is really expensive. If we can, and then I heard flyer in the ride.
The right.
Maybe a flyer is the appropriate thing if you're doing this much broader outreach, because not everybody needs to have this, but a flyer making people aware that this exists, not only in online, but in paper format or what have you, and encouraging people to walk in the door.
Stop by.
Yeah.
Yeah, just stop by and
Yeah.
see
Right.
what the excitement is about.
And I don't
That's where you were
think
headed, right?
cutting the budget on the Go is the thing to do. So if there's
Right.
any intention to cut the budget
Oh, no.
on,
Yeah.
on print version of the Go, forget about it.
But if it can be optimized,
Right.
meaning that the Go is not what there's 10 that get delivered to a doctor's office and not 2 cases.
Right, that's what we, exactly.
And
that's what it
then
sounds
you give
about.
them the flyers and stuff, because you want them reading it in the lobby
That's exactly
when they're
what-
waiting, but
that's
not
why-
necessarily something that they're gonna take.
Taking away. Right.
But they can take
Right.
Oh, they can.
that pamphlet.
Right.
Yeah.
That's where you're headed, right?
I wanted to clarify one thing too, Scott, that you said. You said you heard a lot about services and things here in the meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
We see that as being
Super positive.
something that gives us a limitation because we have the wait time of 4 to 6 weeks. So we see that as being something that we have to be careful about, adding people, having more and more people come in.
For the services?
For the services. However, you heard a lot about it because we already know that the other activities that go on can be a lot more flexible. Is that making sense?
Mhm.
We're not saying that the only important thing is the services and the things like that that are available through resource specialists,
Mhm.
but resource specialists' availability make it a limitation. You know,
For the
we have to be
services.
careful not to bring in a lot of people who need services and things like that until
And that goes
we
to your
can,
marketing.
until we can have the resource specialists
But the
available
services
to
are
help.
The services are needed, and with those services, word of mouth goes a lot. I'm hearing a lot of
Yes.
people coming because of word of mouth, you know.
Yes.
And that go groups, yeah.
Yes.
And this and this. I think we need to have open house like,
John just said
icebreaker.
that.
Yeah.
Oh,
John just
not
said
much
that.
headache.
But I just-
Yeah. It's not, but
You cannot cut services, no.
it's not
No,
just
no,
services.
no, I'm not saying that at all. I'm just
No, no,
saying
no,
that
not
you
at all.
said that you had heard, as if we were more interested in services and things like that. And that is our only limitation, is knowing that we have to be careful about growing the interest. so that we don't add to the wait times. So we don't now have specialists who are given 6 to 8 weeks to get an appointment instead of 4 to 6.
You're not just marketing for services. You're
Exactly.
marketing for community.
We're marketing
We're marketing for
everything.
community.
Right.
Yeah, it's a little library.
But I think from what you were hearing, we were talking a little more about the services and things because of the limitation
Yeah.
of the specialists
Yeah.
and how much they could handle.
It's a huge
Now, if
part
we
of
can-
the asset you guys bring to the community.
And what we can do is we can go in front of city council and say, okay, because of all this information, we need more specialists.
Yes.
Once we get the specialists, we can continue to increase,
Yeah.
how many people we can have come in. But as far as the other services, they don't have that limitation. Am I making sense
But
by
we
what I'm
shouldn't
saying?
push, the concern of limitation of services, because that's a turnoff.
No, I'm not saying limitation of services at
No
all.
limiting of services.
No,
Yeah,
no.
no.
I'm saying limitation of time available for the resource specialists to take care of the
That's more
services. So that's why we want to keep
But you
increasing.
have that cross promotion as well with other services, whether it be cross promotion with the R Center. So if people are coming here for services, you also have that ability to direct them to
Right.
R Center to what have you. It's not always it doesn't always have to come from the senior center. But the social gathering of the senior center is so bloody powerful.
But I wanted you to know that we weren't like thinking less of that. I think it's just what you heard us talking about.
Yeah, I think part of it also, it is the cultural conception. It is part of our American culture that seniors are old and they don't do anything but play dominoes
Yes.
or bingo or something like that. And we don't even do, we do singo, but we don't do bingo here at the.
And that was the first time in 3 years that
Yeah.
I've been here.
Yeah.
That's,
And
Yeah,
it-
how
it's
do
a
you
very-
get past
Yeah, it's
how
a
do you get
very-
past that old attitude?
Right, it's a
Sorry?
very.
The public needs to be educated as to what a senior is, not have the senior change
Yeah.
what we're called.
And
Yeah.
that education is gonna have to come out from us.
Yeah,
Right,
Yeah,
we
it
invite
is.
people for
They do.
loteria in Spanish.
They do.
I said, good for you to come and learn and start a little bit of bilingual
Uh-huh.
with the Indian, with the Apache, with the Berta. So
Mhm.
it's helpful, but
Mhm.
we are inviting, no, come, you'll enjoy it. You'll enjoy it. It's not
Exactly.
just for seniors, you're acting as if you become a pain out of pain,
Yeah.
staying in there,
Mhm.
and come out, have your kids bring you. It's open for everybody, and that's my outreach and convincing people that, no, you belong here.
The availability of the rooms is going to be powerful as you move forward.
Mhm.
Because you're talking about bringing people in or renting to outside of the senior narrative
Right.
in order to bring people here. And it just happens to be, where is it taking place? Oh, it's at the senior center. It's not a senior event, but it's at the senior center, and it becomes more of that community hub.
And with the new equipment, all the rooms are gonna have more availability to have meetings that people from the outside look for.
Yeah.
With the good smart board and all that,
Yeah.
they want those for meetings, so if we
They
can
get a
provide
meeting at
that,
the library is
that could
difficult or
definitely-
whatever, so adding these things is really important.
John said something too, I want, about
Oh,
the.
just one, Marta. Open house? Have we done those in the past? Are we doing those in the
3-year
future?
cycle. And so we're looking at, I think it would be fall of next year. Or this fall, this coming fall.
This fall we'll do one.
Every 2 years we do it?
Every 3 years.
3?
Yeah. So,
Corresponds with the Golden Jubilee.
yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna bring up, I didn't
So-
want to put that
so-
can of worms, but.
And that's gonna be a natural.
But we've
outreach,
got,
right?
I know Ronnie's in planning,
Yeah.
and we're gonna be talking about that because I know the Friends are going to be involved, and doing things with the Golden Jubilee that's coming up for the senior center.
And when is that? What's the time frame on
That'll
that?
be in November.
Okay.
So, so big picture, right? 50-year celebration, we're looking at a lot of different departments to do a lot of things in-house, our current programs, our boards, and it's going to be, we're talking about that marketing, so that's going to be marketed very well around the community as well. I always reach out to like Boulder Daily Camera, do you want to cover any of this information? Whatever helps us get this information out, right? We've had people come in for some of our programs to just observe and then write an article, or they'll make appointments with staff to do interviews for their articles. So we have that 50-year celebration. It's going to be a big event we're looking at a couple weeks time, different programs, different hands-on versus informative versus let's take a look at the past, all of those different things. City council in here plans to bring in the mayor for that, so a lot of positive attention around that too. So
Okay.
so back to you mentioned November, right? Or no, you mentioned November. So November's every 30 years when we do that, and that's intentional. The history before I got here, they used to do it every year. Attendance was always going down. They tried it every other year. It was still not getting to a point where they had enough to say, okay, well this is beneficial for our community, because a lot of planning, you bring in a lot of things in-house, organizing a lot of our program group facilitators to come share what they do, what they offer, and so every 3rd year has been that sweet spot.
Well, I'm glad you told us, yeah. So that's something we could look forward to as far as gearing up for that time frame and at the end of the year.
Yeah. So this board, this has been on, I think this board specifically, should be on our radar for some time.
Okay.
It's been brought up in a couple of meetings.
Another thing crossed my mind is Unity, which is an annual event. We can
Representation.
We can represent it, we can have a booth.
Yeah, I see a lot of that starting to develop from this idea of the outreach.
Yeah.
Get in the community, we could have a booth there, tent, whatever. But I want you to notice that the activity at this meeting, as we talk about outreach, is on the upswing. It's really starting to
Good stuff.
coalesce. A couple of things that came up for me listening to what everybody's saying was, one, to have a message. I really like the idea about ask me about the senior center, that pin. So I want you to consider being able to go back to the Friends and ask for some support financially for things like that.
I have a lady that can make those buttons, Amy.
Yeah.
She's available, she's got her stuff, and
She's got the
that's right for
stuff.
the senior center.
Well,
Let's go to the fair on Main. Yeah.
Well, and think about it as a starting point. How many?
Know your rights.
Do you know how many volunteers
Amy Weingart?
are housed here with various programs? 300. So imagine 300 pins right off the top.
Yeah.
Ask about the senior center in Spanish and in English.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would say, ask Amy if you
Yeah.
like. Ask Amy about doing 500 pins or whatever. That's community outreach to me. You start putting 300 people with ask me about the senior center.
No, John, not 300, 5.
What's that?
5.
5 what?
100
She
people.
wants 200 more.
300's too small.
Well, see that the number's doubled already. So God bless it.
Wow, you're powerful.
I mean,
Once we get started, right?
keep talking. We'll get up to 1,000 before we clear the door.
Good.
But I think it's recognizing that and beginning to ask this for Friends. We have a liaison to the Friends. We can talk about that. Get some specific numbers out there and begin to build that kind of excitement. And the other thing about being a senior, look around the room or go to the Friends meeting. They're all seniors. They don't act like old people as far as I can see. And I think that's the message to begin
Once
to
you
say.
get in, you understand.
Yeah,
How
ask
do
me
I
about
get 'em
it.
in?
Ask me about it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you. People say, how old are you? You're 80? No, I don't believe it. Come to the senior center. There's lots of old people there, lots of seniors. They're not what you think old people, seniors are.
Does the senior center have a logo?
But that's your logo.
What is your logo?
Seniors, not what you
So-
think they are.
Yeah.
And show a video.
Right.
It's
We have a
a
logo?
city created city logo with just a senior services.
Boring.
I'm thinking more like, you look at something like a Long Tucky bumper sticker or what have you, I'm thinking it's Longmont SC. Because I'm trying to pull the word senior off of it. Longmont SC, it does mean senior center, you can have the senior center logo or whatever, but a logo that I can put on my car windshield, on my tail window that just says Longmont SC. And it's a senior
Don't be
center
oldie
thing.
but goodies.
Yeah,
So,
I'm a pusher, sorry.
yeah, no. we welcome that.
Yeah, we definitely welcome that, Scott.
Yeah.
Recommendations.
So,
Yeah, I'm looking at the Kiwanis logo over here.
Uh-huh.
That's on the podium thing, and it's.
it means something, it means
Yeah,
something.
the Longmont Senior Center or Senior Services, that's not a bumper sticker.
See, local, right.
Look,
Yeah, Loco SC. Yeah, yeah,
Wait, what did you say?
Loco SC.
Loco is
Local.
seniors.
Okay.
Loco.
L-O-C-O.
LOCOSC.
lots of thoughts, Lonnie. That's
Yeah.
great.
It only takes money, right?
Right.
You got any?
And approvals. So, and for
Well-
to me, like the whole name change, right? Like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
But buttons don't take an
approval.
approval though, right?
Right,
That
what
just
does
takes a
everybody
friend.
Well, from a
Name
financial,
And you know-
change and all of these things.
from a financial standpoint, it's the relationship we have with the Friends of the Senior Center. That's our financial.
Yeah.
We have fund, not city funding that's there to put a proposal together with 1,000 stickers, 1,000 buttons, whatever.
Yeah.
Begins to, and we're out there doing fundraising now.
Yeah.
Over the last
Oh, I see
10
what you're
years, the Longmont Friends of Senior Center, we've got close to $2 million in donations from people who came in here. So there's,
Annually?
no, over the last 10 years.
Oh, it's
And that's with no outreach, that's with no real fundraising direction. So what you're seeing right now, that's I'm glad you're here, is you're seeing that start to rise. We're actually going to go out the Friends are now actively going out in the community with this CRM program, giving us access, whatever.
Yeah.
The advisory board is starting to do outreach in a really serious fashion. So all the ideas that have come around today support that. I love the idea about asking about the senior center. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I really do.
And you know what, too? As we bring in more people and as this evolves, people might be more open to having the name changed. If we come up with good suggestions, things like that.
I don't think it needs a name change.
I
It
would.
just needs education.
The Matthew Popkins Senior Citizen Center.
Okay.
Write that down. Write that down. That's the small print on the button.
Like Mile High, that comes at a cost. Yeah.
Oh, really?
3 mil, and your name goes on the extension.
$5 million and put it in a plaque. All right. Anything else?
No, I think we're good. How about, let me
Well,
look
what are
at
we doing
everybody.
going forward?
What?
What are we doing immediately going forward?
Okay. I think we need to see a flyer. I think we need to come up with a kind of kit that we use when we do go out and speak to groups, whether it be at housing places, whether it be at community groups, community events, things like that. I think we need to know exactly what we're going to bring every time we go to places. So it would require some flyers, it would require, I would say some go books, but not a lot. Just as an example.
Don't forget the buttons.
What?
Don't forget the buttons.
Right,
Forget
the
the
buttons would be a fabulous idea if we can move forward with that and get buttons made.
I think John and I can move the button thing forward.
All right,
We'll talk to Martha about getting something done.
Oh,
Yes. Yes, we will.
okay.
Amy.
Sí se puede.
Sí, sí puede. Sí, sí, sí.
So when we meet next month, we can talk about where we're gonna go next, where we're gonna start presenting to. You know, what places are we gonna do a dress rehearsal at and things like that, and get it going.
You had some. You had some.
I'll
Of that,
find out a list, I have a list.
you had a list that we did in the last meeting. St. Vrain Community Council, LMAC, NGLA, Friends of the Board, Kiwanis City Advertisement, Parks and Rec tables, things like that. So that's. What about a script? I'm gonna watch the time. If we put together a script, give me just, and I'm happy to do it. Give me some words you'd like to have in the script. What do you think?
Find a friend at the senior center.
I'm gonna have one about ask me about that. I'm stuck on that one.
Okay.
Say the second one.
Find a friend at the senior center. Find your friend at the senior center.
Okay.
Be a friend.
Be a friend. Yeah, be a friend. Come to the senior center.
Okay. Just a couple more, just to give me a starting point. Anything else? Can you think of?
Something lonely.
What's that?
They're super lonely.
New hobby at the, find a hobby at the senior center.
Find some support.
Yeah.
The peer support group has got they're gonna be a table here on today, as a matter of fact, talking about peer support for people. Life can be hard, things like that.
What do you have so far?
Ask me about the senior center. Find a friend, be a friend, find a hobby,
I have to.
find some support.
Join the fun.
There you go.
Yeah.
That should have been the first.
There you
Join
go.
the fun.
Join the fun.
I'm sorry, that's
Join
number
the
one.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, join the
Yes.
fun.
There's
Watch
a-
the
I have
senior
a-
center.
There's
I
the
have a
second
lot of
button.
fun with the
There's the
program,
second
so.
button.
Hey,
Wait,
the supports at the senior center are good, but if we're looking for money and we're looking for dollars and we're looking for people who have it to join, they're not coming here for supports. We want to join the fun.
Find your passions.
Yeah.
Bring your family. We'd had the children, youth, and families presentation back in the and like you
Family and community.
can just bring your family to the senior center.
There's a longer story here, which is how do we get
Because it doesn't
the
have to be
child services, the K, pre-K. How do we get pre-K involved with seniors and do a cross promotion with seniors and families? But that's a whole other meeting.
Already in the works.
Already,
Yes,
we're,
that's-
Okay.
we're doing that. We just rolled that out this last go cycle, intergenerational programs.
There you go.
And we're with the intentionality of increasing that every go cycle. So,
Yeah.
this go cycle is coming out. We're going to
With the
do
youth
more.
association.
Senior center more than old people.
Yeah, the bring your family emphasizes the multi
Sorry.
intergenerational aspects.
I'm getting there too. Come on.
I tell people, I'm gonna.
Not just old people.
I'm
There's
gonna
out of
be
them.
80 in March, and
Yeah.
I feel old. Got that, man?
No, you're
doing
just,
all right.
just in your stride.
Yeah.
Senior center, more than old people. That's sketchy. I gotta tell you.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
That's a great idea.
yeah.
That's it.
That's awesome.
Okay.
All right.
Anybody else have anything they want to bring up? Any thoughts? Any
No.
comments?
No.
Watch the Broncos in the Super Bowl at the senior center.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Do
A
that
lot of new
now
audio
because it's
visual
Sunday.
equipment.
A
Oh.
senior Super Bowl party.
Yeah.
Let's open it up. When are those new boards coming?
Yeah, why not?
I'll know more information today.
Okay.
But probably not by Super.
I don't know.
Not this Super Bowl. But it's okay. It's right time. They have it every year.
I'm running out of battery.
In
All right.
the future, we could have a
Man, that's awesome.
You guys are, this is, god damn, this is, we're old. Sorry.
Older but goodies.
What was I saying?
Well, we're happy to have you.
Can I
guys
take
come in.
another second here? I want to tell you what
Are
I
you
missed.
are you enrolling, by the way, on our list? I'm just asking.
I'm sorry?
Circling back to our original question to
No.
you. Okay.
I gotta tie my shoe again.
Yeah.
There's something that I missed in Longmont, and I loved it when I first got here, and it was the geese. Have you guys been here long enough to remember the
You gotta
geese?
go to
The
Macintosh.
No.
geese.
The geese project where like Left Hand
Oh,
Brewing has
right.
the armored goose up.
Statues.
The
Right.
geese statue, there was Benjamin Franklin goose, there was whatever. It was a art in public places thing that brought the community together. People had decoy geese in their front yard, they were painting them different colors or whatever, and it was, this is done in other places with cows or what have you.
Right.
Can something like that be brought back to bring the community together as an awareness? But if it's initiated from the senior center, then all of a sudden everything revolves. Every time you see a goose, every time you see a whatever it is, there's a knowledge that it was a senior center project. I don't think it's a senior center project, but if it can initiate from a senior center, get put to the art and public places, and then grow from there, how do you get the senior center to be tied to something that is community-wide, border to border?
Interesting.
I didn't see the geese program. Does somebody know about it that we can get more information about it?
So
Oh,
they
it was
had,
definitely
like,
part of the city.
throughout
Yeah.
Longmont, they
Yeah.
had all of these different geese statues that were probably about like 7 feet.
They're monstrous.
high. Yeah.
Go down to
And
Left
they
Hand
had
Brewing,
all
look on the
these
roof,
different-
and you'll see an armored goose.
When was this?
So each artist would take these big geese.
Was
And-
probably like late 90s.
Yep, and there was a There was a contest for who had the best goose and what was this. There was one up at the Times Hall building that was a Ben Franklin goose.
There was one, I think, in Thompson Park.
And they were lovely. And then they actually auctioned them afterwards. But
And they were sponsored by businesses.
Businesses and artists would sponsor the big goose
Right.
geese, and they would be done. But there was little geese all over town that people would do on their own. Whether they're painting flowers on the goose, or they're doing whatever, and then
Yeah,
this goose is sitting in the front yard.
There's two at the city, in the city.
Yes.
Yeah, there's two of them.
They're still all around.
Oh, yeah, there's two.
There's
No,
like
I
15
don't
left.
know. I was in high school when it was happening.
I didn't
so
remember that.
I
But
just
you
remember
recall it.
them,
Yeah.
and I loved them. And some
Yeah,
people
they
were
were-
like, "Oh, why do we have those?" And
That's
I don't know if
exactly
that
it. It
came
starts
into
a
play, like,
conversation.
why-
Scott, have you met
Okay.
with Longmont's marketing communications group?
One
No.
was at the ladies, the senior ladies.
No, I want it to come from the senior center.
Oh,
I don't want
To
to
get something.
I don't want to give it to them. You guys give it
Yeah,
to
but I
them.
think.
It has to come from the senior center because
Something
we're
like
looking at
that, we have
awareness.
to get
I agree.
approval from the
Yeah.
city of Longmont.
We could do things on a smaller scale, right? But if
Start
you're looking at
somewhere.
a community event, then it has to not only get approvals, but then kind of goes back to
It's a community
that
activity.
approach, right? Around who is spending the time and energy to develop, communicate, market, monitor, promote, all of those things, and that takes away from the supportive services meetings that we're just talking about that are 4 to 6 weeks out, and programming for our crazy, robust.
So you want
catalog
that,
right
yeah,
there.
you want that support from marketing, I would think, to take on more of that role so it doesn't detract from your personnel. Is that what I'm hearing? Or-
We have to be mindful of current workload and
Yeah.
adding more on. We were just talking about staffing, right? Those guys
Right.
are always going to be there. They have increases. So always have to look at an opportunity of how do we make this an option or possible without wearing everybody thin or taking
Yeah.
away from
Yeah.
those
Right.
services. Yeah.
Let me ask you, is there any way we could get somebody else to do everything and we could
So
be
our-
the ones to
Yeah. So
sponsor it or
Art in
something?
Public Places did one recently. They did the electric boxes, right? And everybody,
Right.
They set it up in the
Yeah.
Civic Center. Everybody came and voted.
Yeah.
Big community events. That is more their wheelhouse. But how can we partner with them? You know, there's just I think we just have to be strategic, like how we looked at. Again, I'm going to go back to the food table, right? How do we provide this opportunity here, get more people in the door, sustainability, without this group on
Being
a 3-year term
responsible.
being responsible, right? Leave, someone else having inherited and say, oh, my schedule doesn't allow, or I hate to say it, I don't see value in, right? I can't speak for those who will come in after you.
If I could,
Okay.
So that's why we got to look at that sustainability. How do we create and generate these ideas? And when this board is off the board, it continues to go, right?
Right.
Self-sustaining.
if I could make a potential suggestion here for Chair and Ronnie, perhaps talk with the Art and Public Places folks and see if maybe they'll come and give a presentation of what they were doing last year, what they're thinking about for this year, as it relates to potential outreach strategies that you guys were just discussing.
Right.
And then you could see, are there synergies they're already thinking about? And you could even kind of pitch them these kinds of concepts and understand kind of where does that fit in. Start from what are we doing or what are they thinking about, and then go from there.
Right.
Sponsor partnership with, I love that. Okay.
Okay.
We're time's about up, but
Yep.
I'm going away with the idea of
Wait,
who to partner with. Ronnie, I'll check with public places.
what we do need to put down is we've had 2 suggestions on meeting speakers. One would be Arts and Public Places, and one would be, who did I say?
Not right Longmont.
Nope,
Rotary.
nope. Housing Authority? But I don't think that that's necessary. That's not timely. That needs to be done now.
Was
Who
it transportation?
No?
We can give some thought to it and just
Okay.
write to
I'll
Ronnie and
re-
myself.
I'll re-watch the video and I'll find out what we talked
And if
about.
anybody else has thoughts about who they'd like to have speak, let
Right.
Ronnie or let me know, or we can check it
Right.
out. Thank you all very much. This meeting is adjourned. This is an awesome meeting. Thank you.